Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a pleasure to welcome you to this Friday's edition of the Closing Acumen. We are honored to be here and honored to have you come and share the next few hours with us as we dig deeper into the happenings in Liberia, the news, the views, and what have you in Liberia. So I'd like to welcome you. I'm going to be joined by my other colleagues later, but for now we are back on air. I think there's a lot of things been going on in Liberia. Maybe Henry or somebody from the studio will come in and talk about what are some of the news that have been taking place in Liberia. We saw yesterday that the defendant minister of Liberia, Honorable Samuel Ditoy, had a press conference and talking about some of the circumstances surrounding he being sanctioned, his family as well. So we're going to dive into that a little bit, and then we're going to talk about the president-elect of the Republic of Liberia. We have seen different photos uh, that have been parading social media, and we are not sure. Other people have their concerns and have their view about those photos, and we will be talking about it. We've been talking and asking, just send us a video, a live video of the president. Like other people in Liberia and the U.S. have been concerned about that, and so we want to know what is going on. So we ask you to join us, guys. If you're in studio, could you also share with us the YouTube channel? We are on Hot FM and Truth FM as well, and we are also on Real TV. So we ask that you if you want to join us by way of YouTube, you are welcome. And but Hot FM, uh, Truth FM, and other local stations that are broadcasting live in Monrovia. But for the time being, let me make some announcement. In the next few days, we will be asking you to make to give a gift to so that we can support the guys in our studio who are working diligently, who go to bed late at night. We'll be asking you to please support them. Let's give them a small Christmas gift. We will be giving you TCA Cash App, and from there we will ask you to just give a small donation to help the guys. We just want to show some love and be generous this Christmas season. We'll come up with Cash App. Also, we are working on other technical stuff where you can come up and give towards send us stars and things like that. Many of you don't know, but it's a lot running this platform, and that's why you may ask why you guys only come on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We need you guys 7 days a week. It's quite expensive, but we are doing the best we can, to make sure we bring you the news and what's going on in Liberia. So we just want to, but let me take some time to recognize some folks who have joined us. We are glad that you are here, and thank you. We like to recognize Pawisa. Welcome, our friend Breakable Pawu. You're welcome as well. Daddy Ball. He said, about time I've been looking for you. Okay, yes, another thing we can do, folks. I know you've been looking for us. It's quite easy. If you go on the Closing Acumen Live, always Facebook Closing Acumen Live, you're definitely going to see us. It's Facebook, the Closing Acumen Live, and then you will jump right in there. We'll put up the YouTube channel in a few minutes, and we are hoping that you will get it. That those of you who love watching by YouTube, you can also get to us. But we like to welcome you guys, man. Let me welcome Daddy Ball, yes, welcome, Daddy Ball. Olusegun A. Trokan, welcome, my brother. Say he's watching. And then we got the Liberian historian. I'm right here. All right, historian, man, come on one day and share with us your historical gift, the gift you have. Come on one day and let's talk about the Liberian history. Uh, we have here Vasily Gaye. He's also watching. We have Zach O.G. Johnson. Zach O.G. Johnson LR. He like, wow. Uh, Ang, he said, welcome back, guys. Thank you, thank you. We're glad to be back. We're glad to be back. Uh, David Giflaw. Well, we are the best, man. Well, you can call us any way you want, but we are the best. We present the best, and you can call or whatever. I'm glad you're not insulting because you'll be blocked in seconds. So what, David, come. I'm glad you're here, even though you say the guy we are crooks, but at least you are here to watch the crook. That's a great thing, brother. So welcome, David Giflaw, Olivia Precious Cooper. Welcome, Doc. Welcome, Doc. It's good to see you. Welcome to the closing argument. We're glad to be there. Uh, we also have watching. We have something here. It's a Vamuya F Fofana. Vamuya F Fofana is here. Welcome, Vamuya. Doni Bliko. So no problem. We say Abu Madevi from Burrowville, all the way from Burrowville. Welcome, welcome. Thomas Thomas B. Boss. Said JMB do me any good for our country library regret the action. Well, let's give him a chance and let's wait to see. We shouldn't bad on the president like he probably will be back soon. Let's give them some chance and see. Uh, well, Larry Putu, I'm not. You can call us by name. I'm glad you're watching it as well. Glad you're watching, Larry. It's good. And then there's Amatule. This platform unique. And to get back, it is very important. Thank you, Amatule. Duval Cassette, watching from Virginia. Uh, uh, Stephen Fowler, I'm watching you from my end. Great, Stephen. Uh, John Baron Pele Tubeless. Wow. James A. Cayute, one of our great friend Junior. Thank you, James. Thank you for watching. Flomo Livingstone. Well, Flomo, I don't know what you're talking about. Anita Anita Sakura. Hi, my. She said, hi, my ever respected Dr. Peabody. Thank you, Anita. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Titus Massacre, watching from Philadelphia. Hey, Titus. Hope all is well. William Weiser. William Weiser, bro. Great to be back. I'm following closely from Liberia. K. Alfred Fabio Joma. Thank you, buddy. Richard Melvin. Hi, guys. Uh, uh, okay. Bakari Sisse. Keep up, Doc. Eugene Digiman Jones. Watching live from Liberia. Hot FM. Hey, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Titus Buffet. Happy to hear you guys again. Great. Our dear sister from all the way Maryland. My dear sister. Oh, yeah. She knows how to take care of her voice. Winifred Smith. Good to see. I'm glad you're watching again, my dear sister. Winifred. Richardson Melvin. Uh, thank you, Kuku, Kokulu S. Jones. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Thank you. Mami Zefri. Greetings from the Netherlands. Oh, wow. Great, man. Thank you, Mami. I was there in July. We had a great time in Holland at the Liberian celebration. Robert Cooper, you guys back again? Yes, we are back, Robert. Joseph Koyina Paul, he's also watching. Uh, Somebody said, what are you closing today? Well, watch it. The guy should be here soon, and we'll be talking a couple of things. Tanu Nicolo Bessa, greeting from Norway. Hey, brother, God bless you. Thank you for watching from Norway. all the way. Suleimani Famoyan Sharif. All right, whatever it is, brother. Addison Cape, watching from Miami, Florida. Great. Howard Geneva Peel, Miss Peel, what's up, my dear? Good to see you. You back. Uh, Da Maria Angel, watching from Exington, Pennsylvania. Oh, girl, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Mars Motigo, look at these. Okay, Mars, you thank you. You on the show watching, so I'm not even going to read your comment, Miles. Junior Bernard, I'm watching from Stephen Tower Estate. Oh boy, that's my old place. Duval Cassell, he's watching. Keep up the good work. Emmanuel T. Johnson, watching from Kakatan. Oh, great, man, great. Sekou Fufana, watching from all the way England. Wow, welcome, Sekou. Nice to have you. Lawrence Jackson, watching from Virginia. Uh, Kuba Wilson, watching from Baltimore, Maryland. Sekou Fufana, good to see you guys. Watching from Innocent Boy, watching from Iadera A. Pellet Town. Great, Innocent, welcome. John Nana Timet, watching from Cyprus. Oh, guys, great to see you. I mean, we got a lot of folks watching. I hope I can get to the names. Elijah N. C. Watching from Ganta City. Joe Williams, watching from War Room of the opening argument. Okay, I'm glad you got a War Room for opening argument. Isn't that cool? Shema Ben Sabi is here. Sheikh Barbie, watching from Italy. Whoa, guys. And we have Abraham PF Sar from Lofa County. Doxy Duclay. So welcome. Then we have Sampon, AB for Buddy, watching from Duper Road. Daniel Nelson, send my greetings to Intelligent Ben Salmon. He's my guy. Cool, Ben, this is a guy right there. Peter White, Minnesota. Kingley Temin from New Jersey. Jad JD, watching from. So, guys, I mean, thank you for coming. Simeon Wright, the controversial Simeon Wright, my brother, watching from South Beach. All right, Simeon, having some good time. So, guys, let's start the show. Chairman Ben is here. Julius is here. Man, thank you, everybody, man. Keep watching, keep watching. Welcome, guys. And Chairman Ben, welcome, man, on this Friday. And Julius.
It's good to see you. Thank you. It's good to be here. Lofa, it's good to see you. Thank you to all of those who are following us. We want to thank you for supporting. Looking forward to a quiet and a cold weekend. Lofa is in North Carolina here with me. I don't know why the place is so cold. I hate this cold. It's
something you did. I got to figure out something you did.
I can't stand this cold. I wish I was back in Liberia. I swear to God.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy, where you still but us now?
Yeah, no. You're in another league. I mean, that's why I ran away from the north, to come south. But Lofa and the cold. I mean, North Carolina has gotten colder over the. I don't know why. It keeps getting colder.
I really can't complain about the North Carolina weather at this time because having to have been in Wisconsin.
Oh,
right?
God.
And went through everything in Wisconsin to move out here. I feel like it's great.
No,
I mean,
which part of Wisconsin you were? Which part?
Madison.
Oh, okay. Because my wife went to college in Milwaukee.
Oh, she went to Milwaukee?
Yeah, she went
to
college
in Milwaukee?
Yeah. No, she went. No. Mount Mary.
Oh, okay, Mount Mary.
All girls college she went to.
Okay.
I remember when I used to be going to Milwaukee too. I was looking for Judah. So
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. With some of us, we had to take the extra ride from Madison to Minnesota.
Yeah,
but
I was in Virginia, and she was in Milwaukee. So, and I know that Wisconsin cold you're talking about. I know that Wisconsin cold.
Hold up, you were driving?
No. Oh no.
Oh, I was about to say. I would say, wow, that's.
We did drive.
We're talking 15 hours here.
Yeah, it's a long drive because I remember when she graduated from college, we drove from Milwaukee all the way to Rockville, Maryland. because that's where her parents are. So we rented a U-Haul, packed all her stuff, and I remember she had one old lady. She's gonna kill me with me telling this story, but she doesn't watch these things. She's not on social media. She's not. That's what blessed me. You know, when people cussing me, I can be telling them. I said, my wife don't see any of this shit. Just see any of this shit I'll be doing. So, but I remember she had a old little Toyota Paseo. I don't know, you remember Toyota Paseo? The small. I don't think they make them anymore. But it's like a very. It used to be the smallest.
Like 2-door. Is that like the 2-door?
No, it's 4-door, but it used to be. You know, they got the Corolla is supposed to be the smallest one, right?
Right.
But there was another one called the Paseo, and it was a very small car. And I remember, I think she bought that car for $800, if I'm not forgetting.
Okay.
And she wanted to, and when we were coming to the East Coast, she wanted to actually bring that car. I was like, no, that car can't come. I don't think it can make it or even drive from Milwaukee to. But yeah, it's it is what it is. It was a great time. But I do remember that cold. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really don't miss it. Nothing about that cold I miss at all, especially when some of us had to drive through the 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow as compared to here. North Carolina, you have about an inch, not even an inch of snow, just a little bit of, just flakes, and they're about to shut everything down.
Everything down, yeah.
Now I'm like, yeah, it was about time for me to get out of there. I'm like, I can't deal with that. But I mean, it's good to be out here. At least the weather today, I must admit, it's a little bit chilly, but you can't complain. This compared to those in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and other those places. I'm pretty sure they're not happy about what's going on over there. So
it's a mess. But what's going on, man? What's happening?
Not a whole lot, man. I mean, basically, we've been paying keen attention to what's going on back home. I think the news remain the same. Nothing has really changed, with the exception of the fact that people are still concerned as to where the president-elect is. People are searching to find where the president-elect is and what's going on with the VP-elect and several other things. And I think one thing that struck me today was the alarm that was raised via the social media about this young lady who mother passed today.
Yeah,
and
Queen.
Right. May the soul of the the deceased rest in perfect peace. But in that regards, there were also there are claims being made, allegations that her death was as the result of pressure from people in the opposition or the dirty politics and it just reminded me while I was at work. I was in the middle of quite a few things going on and I was listening, and it just reminded me because there were people who, when this whole thing came out, the death of the late Joshua, when it was actually mentioned, people started to say, I made a post about it. I said, this is going to be the first challenging tax for the Unity Party government, with the expectation that they're going to take on, and pursue justice for this young man. People say, oh, why can't the CDC government actually be the one to initiate the investigation and go through it? And what I was looking at is exactly what is happening now. I was looking at it this way. What if the CDC government is to start the investigation and conclude the investigation within the next few days or weeks, and then pursue the perpetrators and prosecute them? Would we then come back and say it's witch hunt, or they are actually targeting specific individuals because they're leaving, they're upset? Are we going to result to that? And today, when I listened to the young lady now calling names of people who were asking for justice for Joshua, I said, well, I guess we're well on our way again. But I mean, let's get your input on that. That is just what I was thinking about. That's just one thing that actually struck my attention today.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you. I saw it online, and Queen, I know her very well. She's a young lady, a strong stalwart of the Unity Party. Well, first of all, my condolences to her family. Mm-hmm. To her personally, I losing a mother is no easy thing. Mm-hmm. I've lost my father. My mother is still alive, but I'll say this: I wish her well. I pray for her family. Her families are in my thoughts and prayers. I don't know the the nitty gritty or the facts surrounding this case with her. I've seen it back and forth. I've seen the back and forth on social media about what happened to Joshua. We pray for his family also as they grieve and they mourn him. I've always said it is stupid for anyone to. That's why when I see some of the dimwits and idiots, and I'm gonna say it. I mean, sometimes I'm even reading the live. I see some of them here. They're idiots, right? Idiots. They're dumb. They don't have any sense of training. They were not raised right, so I'm not surprised. That country has a deficit of training. Because of the war, a lot of people grew up without a real family, so they don't understand what it means to be decent. So some of them when you see them using the words and the languages they're using, it's because they didn't grow up in a home. They're street people. That's the reason why they do the things they do. So what am I saying this? Why am I saying this? If you look at what has happened over the last couple of years with our politics has gotten to the level of scum, right?
Right.
We're killing people because of politicians. We're killing people because of politics. We're insulting people's mothers. It's becoming so disgusting. It's really becoming disgusting. And so, like I said, I sympathize. I mean, I saw her cry today. No one should lose their loved one, right? I don't know the circumstances around her mother's death. In fact, when I saw her mother's picture, I believe that I know that lady. When I saw her picture,
wow,
I couldn't. I was trying to put. I'm going to try to put a name to it, right? And I would personally reach out to Queen family, and the same thing with Joshua, right?
Right.
A young man his life being cut short in the name of politics. In the name of politics, politicians who you will never even get a chance to see.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all will stay in your situation, in your deplorable and despicable situations that you are in. But yet and still, you're passing around and you are insulting people's parents. You are insulting people's mothers. But that's what happens when you have a country that people were not raised right. We have a lot of loose people who have been raised over the last couple of years in Liberia. So that's the reason why you see them, they're so low in their thinking. They say anybody who cannot intellectually have a conversation with you that has to denigrate, to insult. Anybody who cannot have an intellectual conversation with you that has to stoop so low to insults, it means that you have a mud brain. You can't think. So, so for me, I'm praying that at the end of all of this noise, because that's what has happened over the last couple of years. I mean, when I see some of the people who can be insulting me, I mean, sometimes I go and I just click on their picture and I see them, and I think about their story. It just makes me want to puke, because why am I even going to respond to somebody who doesn't even have a clue of where they're coming from and where they're going? What is wrong with people having different sides? What is wrong with, right on this panel, what is wrong with people not supporting the same person? What is wrong with me saying that I support George Weah and you saying you support President-elect Joe Walker? What is wrong with that? We want democracy in our country, but we don't want to be civil. So I feel for her. I know it's a tough time for her, but yet and still, I believe she was implicated in a video. So what I would advise is that she submit herself to the law. But I understand, I felt that girl's pain when I saw her cry today.
Right.
And like she said, in the name of politics. I'm sure when her mom heard about the situation that she's probably going through, right? Maybe it caused her mom to have a heart. You don't know what happened. Mothers are grieving in that country because their kids' lives are being cut short in the name of this stupid and crazy politics. Forgive my language. It is upsetting, guys. And I think at some point, we all need to have a conversation about how our politics has denigrated to the extent where people cannot even have a natural and a simple conversation. And that's why when I see some of the dim-wits, the other day I went to an event. And I was so in, guys. Forgive me why I rant. You know, I went to an event.
Take your time. Go ahead. Take your time.
I went to an event at the Liberian embassy. And I saw one of the foolish people who, you know, you come and you think you can insult my mom or my father or whatever, and then you think when you come and see me, you're gonna extend a hand to me to shake my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you have no training. Some of you guys, on your best day, you cannot be the people who you are insulting. The country, it almost like the country has just gotten loose. You know, the country has just gotten loose. Grown men and women acting like little children in the name of politics. You know politics? Some of y'all will never even get a chance to stand in the midst of some of the people that you claim to be fighting for. You want to open your mouth and talk. So my heart goes out to Queen Johnson, her family. My heart goes out to Joshua's family. Mm-hmm. And I pray that we elevate our politics, that we don't have to be killing. I mean, young people don't have to die in the name of politics. This is not the 50s or the 60s where you say, oh, you're struggling for civil rights. People die for this freedom for you to go and vote. And you sit down and you pass around and they're all on Facebook. That's why I say I don't blame them sometimes. I blame Mark Zuckerberg for giving them the opportunity to be able to write on Facebook and talk the garbage and the foolishness that they be talking. On a normal day, some of them would not even get a chance to pass, to see what they want to say. They pass around all day. They opening their mouths, insulting people in the name of politics. Foolish people. That country needs redemption. That country don't only need prayers. That country needs a triple holy bath. Because some of them will continue to stay in the misery and they will start blaming each other. It is wrong, and we pray for the soul of Queen's mother, and we pray for the soul of Joshua, and for all the thousands of people who have lost, the hundreds of people who have lost their lives as a result of this stupid foolishness thing that we do in our country called politics.
Ben, it was good. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dad.
You sure? You want to go ahead?
I was just going to say it's a good thing that he let it out. It's good for people to hear these things because our country needs these kind of conversation to be held. The young people back home, they have been victimized by, the lies that they have been put under to believe that the only source of survivor is politics, and their entire mindset have been militanized, as I would call. I don't even know if that is a word, but that is how the young people think. They're not thinking as to whether they can become the next engineer, doctors, or lawyers, or other things. They're only thinking in one direction, and they're thinking, when I have to submit my loyalty to specific political parties or individuals and be a militant, then I probably have success tomorrow. Ben mentioned something earlier, and that's what I keep saying. If we don't add up or we don't emphasize on the importance of being mature in our disagreement, I think a lot of our young people will end up, down the wayside. Today, my supervisor and I, we had our Christmas, Christmas get together at the office, and we were sitting at the table. We were invited to sit with the governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, and so we were talking about. I said, I'm gonna attend it, and he said, I'm not attending that, and I mean because he had a different view. We had chit chat about it. He's like, I'm not going there, and our conversation was great. At the end of the day, we still sat at the table though. I'm talking about my supervisor. Me and him disagreeing, about attending the governance holiday dinner that we were invited to. Okay, invitation extended to us, and he said he's not going there. And I said, well, I'm attending it. Now, could that have been the same thing in Liberia? Had that been in Liberia where My supervisor says he's not attending an event that he was invited to by the governor, and I'm telling him openly that I'm going. Guess what's gonna happen? Now I guess I might have to lose my job, or I wouldn't have to roll with him no more. But I think that young people need to understand, and it's upon all of us to hopefully help them out, and in the process we can elevate the conversation to another level. But I just wanted to throw that in. They need a whole lot of holy bath, but even the pastors themselves need holy bath, so I don't know who's going to do the bathing for them.
You're right about that. You're right about that. But you see, Julius, one of the thing is that's what I don't engage a lot of folks when I go to Liberia to have any kind of conversation in the public, because the first thing that comes out of them is some kind of anger, and if you don't agree with them, the next thing it results into some kind of, they want to get into some kind of violence and being very verbally explosive, and insulting and doing things. So most time when I go to Liberia, I only have a few cycles that I will sit down and have a conversation with. I don't really go to a lot of places because of what happened. And that's exactly one of the things that I've been surprised at. I've seen elders, people who should know better. You're talking about older people who engage you and say, "Oh, why you voted for this person? What?" Somebody call me and say, "Oh, I was this person killed my relative and somebody died and nobody should have gone. Nobody should have." I'm like, can you give people the chance to have their view and to talk about what they want to talk about, or to support who they want to support, engage who they want? Why you? I mean, so nobody can disagree no more. You can't disagree no more. Okay. Once it's not on your side, then this person is a criminal. The person is a fool. The person is a dog. Or what? I mean, they come up with all kind of crazy name to describe people. So you were right, Ben, for what you said. Sometimes I see people on the show here, they are insulting, and if you just take a peek at their Facebook, you you just you just laugh, and you don't even want to go engage them. But it's really bad that we live in a culture that because of simple things, you will kill your neighbor and say because this person is from this party or this person is from this other party. Then what's the civil war? Why? Then nothing we have learned from the civil war, because it's almost like we are in another civil war because our people cannot agree. Even the ones that are in the diaspora, who you expect to even reason,
Oh, they're the
they,
worst.
they have the
The
worst.
worst.
The one that live in the diaspora, the reason they will see you and say, "Oh, I hear they gave you $50,000. I wish I had $50,000, bro. I wish I had $50,000. That's a lot of money." But they just come up with all kinds of things. They say you did this. They say you did. I mean, and sometimes you just look at them and laugh. But we in a culture now that nobody can disagree. It must be your side. Your side must be the right side, and only you. We had an election. Everybody had the right to choose a side. Everyone had the right. You can go on Baca, you can go on Cummings, you can go to George Weah. What's the problem with that? What's wrong with that? If you don't like George Weah and I support George Weah, what's wrong with that? If you don't like Cummings and I support a Cummings, so what's wrong with that? That's my prerogative. I can decide on what I want to do, and that's to make us better. That's why we should be able to look at those things and deduce that we have a choice. But like people, the election has been over. You got a president that has not even appeared in the public. You're going and putting false picture all the time and expect people to believe it. When people question why you say the picture is out there, but you can't see the live video, you get by and start cussing and stuff like that. What's that? We should be objective of everything we do. Very objective of things we do. I don't expect them to agree with me. I don't expect Julia as a Kev to agree with me in everything. We can disagree. We can have a different, diverse view, and that's the purpose of it. But it seems that Liberian think one way, and that's why we have remained one way in our country. That's why Liberia have stayed like that. We have not changed. Other countries are progressing while we are retrogressing because we are not ready, because we think one way. It must be you or it must be your way or no other way. And that's why we don't see a lot of changes going on in our country. We must sit here and we must lie on somebody because you don't like this person, so the other person should go about insulting. And that's why we have remained like that, especially some of the one who you think will be educated to think even make critical judgment. They can't do that. They want to come after you in a way and stuff like that. So I think it's wrong. Quade Johnson and the other kid. It's just sad that those beautiful soul will be lost that kind of way. It's really, really sad. I mean, very, very sad.
Jefferson.
Kev, welcome, bro. Just hear from you. I think ZZ or somebody was trying to get in, but I think the device has some kind of problem. So
Oh,
when ZZ or somebody.
oh, I
Well,
think Truth FM. That's from Hot FM.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
we on hot too though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
True.
okay. Well, let me say hi to you guys. Um, I'm here listening to you guys. I understand your anger where you're coming from, Ben. Is I think your anger channel in the right place, but we also have to look on both sides. I am I am in sympathy with and anybody who lost their mother. And I lost my mother a couple of years back. It still feel like yesterday. Um, but I I I I, I wish a queen would feel the same way, and when she take part in other situation that other people lost their lives. When folks lost their lives in Lofa, she celebrated. When she took part in Joshua, see the tip out there. She actually put her hands on the boy. She put her hands on Joshua. They beat Joshua. He had internal bleeding and died. And died. She there. She in the video. The late Christmas. She slapped the late Christmas Wayne City. All the stuff she did. So I hope this to be a wake up call and feel the pain that other mothers are feeling right now for the children. You know, so I don't get it. I don't get it. I understand the sympathy for her, but I wish a member of the Unity Party and others will have the same outrage and anger as what you say, Ben, that what you did for what happened, and she took part in some of those uh, 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 you know things that led to the death of a young bright man called Joshua. Young, good-looking bright man. Joshua crime was to support George Weah. That was his only crime. He went to Vamoma, standing up, waiting for his president, and he was beaten. He died with internal bleeding. What was Joshua a crime? Because he supported George Weah. And Queen was among those who beat him to his death. She laid her hands on him. She slapped folks. Every video out there, Queen is there. Every deadly video. They celebrated. She celebrated the death of people. I don't think death should be in the doorstep of anybody. I understand. I watched a video. She crying. Yeah, Joshua mother is crying too. Joshua mother is crying. She took part in every single attack in Monserrado County. Guys, 6 sedition got killed. 6 sedition got killed. It hurt to see a young man like Joshua, where Queen took part in the beating until he went to the hospital and suffered internal bleeding and died. She there. But we will not pay her with the same thing. We will have sympathy because her mother passed away. But Liberia should understand. Liberia should understand that the girl called Queen took part in every riot and death. She did. Guys, I know you have seen the young man Joshua picture. What would Joshua's mother say? What would she say to Queen? Was she crying? Sometimes they say the evil that men do live after them. You know, sometimes when you do something to somebody, it follows you. We have to be careful. We have to be careful.
I can say hi.
What do I mean?
We have to be careful. We have to be careful. She on the run. There's an arrest warrant out there for her. A murder arrest out there for her. But she crying, my mother. Joshua's mother is crying. A young man, promising young man. What was Joshua crying? Supporting Joia. So I understand your anger, Ben.
All right.
I understand your anger, Ben. But I will say this. The same outrage should be on Queen for what she did to Joshua. The same outrage. The same thing. The same thing. And I hope she can turn herself in and have a day in court. Let the due process work. I hope she can turn herself in. And I rest for now.
Thank you, Kev. St. Tomlin. You muted, bro.
Oh, hey guys, welcome, man. Good to be back. It's good to be back on this Friday, almost to the Christmas. But I just, I at least I can confirm that the president-elect will be appearing at the program tomorrow. Some of his organizers, our team just arrived in Rhode Island. They'll be covering the program tomorrow live. So good to see the president-elect making his public appearance to engage Liberians in Rhode Island tomorrow. So
Tomlin, now that you're talking about it, though, give us an idea as to what is this program about? Is he just engaging Liberian in the Rhode Island area, or is this part of the program that we were notified that he's supposed to be meeting officials, or the United States government officials? Is that part of the program? What is this program about? Are Liberians around the United States invited to this engagement, or it is just simply geared towards supporters of the Unity Party or the Unity Party?
Well, I asked the person who I talked to. I said, "What's the program about?" The same question you asked me, and they said that to meet some partisans and also how they call themselves, the Unity Party Alliance in the U.S. And they're coming to be there tomorrow. Plus, Liberian, one of the auspices of the Liberian community, and the boycott. In fact, the guy who had in the program is one the former one were actively involved in the CDC in the initial stage. He was the chairman of the chapter at the time, Chairman Jerry Bacon. Yeah, now he's with the Unity Party now. Yeah, he's the one who heading that whole program tomorrow. Jerry Bacon and also Joe Norris. So yeah, they're the one who heading the program tomorrow, and they show that the president-elect will make his public appearance tomorrow. So, and Liberians some people have already gone to Rhode Island. They arrived, and they are looking forward to seeing the president-elect in public after a couple of weeks and all these speculations and so forth. So tomorrow we look forward to seeing the president-elect make his public appearance, and then hope we'll take it from there, because I was told, I think we just informed that he's coming to Washington, D.C. next week too, to meet with some. We'll look forward to seeing all of these engagement next week. And I will always say, wish the president-elect best wishes and good health. I look forward to seeing him make his public appearance tomorrow. So tomorrow I think it's just like meeting, just engagement with the Liberian community and the Unity Party Alliance and us and people who supported him there. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
For me, let me say this.
1 second, Ben. 1 second, please. 30 seconds. 1 second. Let me say this. Those of you out there talking about I don't have heart because I'm talking for Joshua, you're lucky I'm on closing argument, the dignity of the platform. If I were on my own show, I would say something to you guys, because the wickedness and stupidity, because I'm talking of a young man that passed away, and Queen was part of the beating of that young man, and you telling me I don't have heart? The craziness in your head, you're lucky. It's a closing argument because
thank you for considering that.
Otherwise, what I would say to some of you will not like it.
Thank you, Kev.
Die, you're saying now people ain't get heart, and Queen took on the somebody. You're lucky.
So for me, so first of all, is we wait to see what happened. Wait to see the president-elect tomorrow. I think this whole thing has been a whole lot of noise about nothing. When I sit and think about it, I think, again, like I say, I think the total PR disaster rests on the shoulders of the office of the president-elect, his handlers. I think they should have been a lot more definitive. They should have been a lot more clearer to the country. This man is no longer just your standard bearer. He's now the president-elect of the country. All of the press releases that I think his office has put up has created more questions than provide answers. Mm-hmm. So I think what they should have done, and they still have a chance to kind of correct this. This is a new administration coming in, is to, even the conversation about him being in the hospital or going to the hospital. Listen, Joe Buckeye is 79 years old. The campaign in the last 2 or 3 years, people campaign heavily on his age and on his health and everything. And according to the results that NEC announced, at least a slim majority of Liberians made a determination that they didn't care, it didn't matter about what was said about him. And so he's now the president-elect of the country. So I think they should have issued a very detailed itinerary of the president-elect, make it very clear that in that itinerary, hey, guess what? He will come to do his physical, whatever you want to call it. And I don't think there was going to be any of this hoopla, right? But I think this attempt to, throw out these pictures and do all these different things is what has caused a lot of this. But again, like I said, I'm looking forward to listening to seeing him tomorrow. And let me say this. I want to educate somebody here. This is Magnus Lobo. And Magna, this is free education to you. And I'm calling you out because I expect you should know better. Joe Boyka is traveling on the government's dime. I don't know. Read the executive order that was issued. It's free education to you. Go out there, find the executive order that President Weah issued. You will see it's written in that executive order that the moment he became president-elect, his travel, his feeding, literally everything, the government of Liberia is taking care of it at this point in time. So I'm just giving you free education. I'm calling you out because you know, again, like I say, I expect you to know better. But I would take that as maybe you just didn't know, right? He is traveling on government's dime. It's not a private trip. It's not. If you read the executive order, the vice president elect and the president elect, any trips they make right now out of Liberia, the gas that they're in the car right now, the vehicles they are riding right now are all vehicles that are owned by the Republic of Liberia.
Pretending to be
why you
dumb,
see-
which they know. They're
That's
pretending
why
to be
you
dumb.
see.
Okay, let us not call our audience member dumb. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's not
That's
do that.
why you see. That's why you see. What's the thing name? The EPS has now taken over the security of the president and the vice president elect. So again, like I said, I'm just giving some education because I read and guess what? This is our second transition in 6 years. The same thing happened with then President-elect George Weah. President Sirleaf issued an executive order. It's almost the same replica. It's a replica of all they did was just change the names, right? So I just wanted to provide that information because, like I said, you know, when people put out information, sometimes people run with it. Like, oh, you know, he's not traveling on government dime. No, he is. He's traveling on government's dime. The moment Joe Boyka was announced president-elect by the National Elections Commission, he became the property of the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you.
Every Liberian has that right to be able to know exactly where, you know, what is happening to him. So just a point of correction.
We read some of these things, and
So-
you're saying the right thing. You're saying the right thing, Ben. And look at them. They're telling you, Ben, this, Ben, that, and you actually
So-
say the right thing. This country, man.
No, but anybody who insult you will be blocked. If you use any bad word, we will block you, bro. All
I
right?
mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm okay with people disagreeing with our positions.
Yeah, no, and
Everybody
for
on
me,
here,
and the
that's
reason,
fine.
and
Fine to
you see,
disagree
Lofa,
as
the
well.
reason I call out Magnus,
Uh-huh.
Magnus is, I want to consider him a friend, you know.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
He's George Lobo's brother. You know, I think I know him, or I don't know him personally that I know of him. George is a
Right.
good friend of mine. But when
Right.
I saw his comment, I felt it was
Mhm.
important because if somebody like that writes something, I want to believe that
Right.
people are going to believe it.
True.
People will
But that's
believe
why.
it.
That's why
When
you
you say-
pretend to
when
be
you
dumb.
say-
He's a smart man. He's a smart
You
man.
know, yeah. When you come out and you say that
He's a
he's
very
not
intelligent
traveling
guy.
on government's
But you say
dime,
that, so he pretending to be dumb, but
You
he's
know,
a smart man.
when
But
you
smart
say
people
that he's
say
not
that.
okay, when you say that he's not traveling on government's dime, and so he owes no responsibility to the public, I think that's misleading. I think that's wrong. He is on government's dime. He's traveling. He got government per dime. He has EPS with him, I'm pretty sure. He has security protection. He is now a property of the Republic of Liberia. And so the Liberian people do deserve to know exactly. That's the reason why they're issuing the press releases they are issuing, because I think it's an attempt to kind of clear
Right.
the air. But I think they just need to be a little more detailed and a little more informative to the society.
And in addition to that, though, Ben, something actually came up over the past day, I think, few hours. Few lawmakers acknowledged, they congratulated Honorable Borkai and his team, and they spoke to quite a few things. I think I'm just going to go ahead and read that letter, if that's okay with you guys, and then hopefully we can kind of discuss it, because I'm getting a different vibe from what I'm seeing on the social media. People on the social media, again, folks are saying, instead of them indicating that, the Honorable Boycott is being congratulated, they are claiming that he's being praised for his campaign message, and these people are working with him. And I think from what I'm reading here is the complete opposite. But if it's okay with you guys, we can read it and discuss it, hopefully, and help. And again, the reason why it came to mind is because just what you just said about the young man Lobo, that that education was needed, and hopefully Lobo is not the only person who will benefit from this, though. Others who are following will also benefit from these things, because it is rare that we engage in the actual educational aspect of our body politics, making the young people to understand and see from diverse view, not the the muya or the yelling, but seeing what the results of their involvement in these different political aspects, and really understanding the nitty gritty of things that is often hidden from them until they find themselves to be victims. So, again, like I said, if it's okay, I read that letter. I think it was actually a letter from Christopher Ekon, Chris Van Hollen, and I think the third person here is Corey A. Booker. They sent a letter congratulating Honorable Joseph Numan Boakai. Um, so yeah, I mean, you
Well,
okay to read it?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you guys want to read it, I mean, I think we can summarize it.
Yeah,
it's a pretty straightforward letter. These Cory Booker and them are strong friends of Liberia. They've always had, and I thought it was a good, good gesture on their part to congratulate the president-elect and to express their willingness to work with the new administration. They did highlight the issue of corruption.
Yes.
His pledge to fighting corruption is very important.
Right.
And so it sets a tone. I saw a post just now from Amara Kone stating that next week it's going to be a busy week for the president-elect. Listen, these are all great developments. The president-elect needs to have these engagements. We know our country is heavily dependent on aid from the Americans. And so if a new administration coming in, they need to be able to go out there and press the flesh and rub shoulders with the stakeholders in Washington, D.C. But they have to be very careful. And it's also being done in a very skillful way also, because guess what? There is still a president. There's still a government in place in Liberia, right? Joe Boakai is not in charge of the foreign policy of Liberia right now. George Weah is. So they're doing it in collaboration and consultation with the administration back home. I think the JPTT met yesterday. The transition is going along very fairly. And so we welcome all of these developments. Again, like I said, it doesn't take away from people critiquing, from people asking these tough questions, from people asking it, because everybody care about the future of the country. As far as we are concerned, the election is over. Joe Boakai is president of Liberia, president-elect of Liberia. He will be president for all Liberia. So if he succeed, Liberia succeed. If he does not succeed, Liberia doesn't succeed. So I don't think anybody should root for his failure. I think what we should be rooting for here is his success, but with an eye of making sure that we hold them accountable and making sure that they keep the promises that they made. And I think that's where that letter falls right in line. We're encouraged by your campaign statements on anti-corruption. We look forward to working with you and being strong partners of Liberia. So I thought it was a great letter.
Right. And in addition to that, though, and that's part of the reason why I think when we came on, we made it clear that part of the reason why the closing argument is here is not to chastise individual because of individual differences, but to hold people accountable. Promises that were made during the elections cannot simply be promises based on just word of mouth and then ignore it upon your ascendancy to the presidency or when you're opportune to govern. So I think this is where some of us will continuously remind the incoming government that, hey, you promised the people these things during the elections, and we are yet to see them, or we must say to you, congratulations. At least thus far, you appear to be heading in the right direction. And I think that's what this letter here is saying to the incoming government. Guys, we listened to you during the election. These are things that you promised, and these are good things for the forward movement of Liberia. But my only concern here is why it is truth that these things were promised. How can we honestly consider the possibility again of being able to implement? All right, what are we looking at? What's the possibility that, considering the Unity Party yesteryears were also involved in a lot of corrupt practice, people names have been mentioned on this very platform, is the Unity Party going to do a holistic review of everything, and are they going to pursue everybody, or this is going to be more like a sectional maybe just partial pursue of what we heard during the elections? That's just what I want to know from all sides. Are they going to be holistic in the process?
Well,
okay, go ahead.
Concerning that letter, that's if you can recall, when President Weah was elected in 2017, His congressional people wrote, I think a few of them wrote a letter to congratulating him, and that's the standard U.S. policy to do, especially like Ben said, who have close ties with Liberia, they will congratulate you and then express the desire to work with you to improve Liberia-U.S. relationship, and how you going to embrace it, how you going to take it. That's how it will take to go from there. So yeah, and Senators Chris Coons from Delaware, Senator Booker from Jersey, and Senator Van Horn. I think he's from I think on one of the other states. Yeah, but he's from Maryland, I think. Yeah, from Maryland. So it's good. It's a good letter, and welcoming the president-elect as he assumed the office in 38 days. 38 days from now, we expect the president-elect to take the oath of office, and we'll start a new era. New government will be in place. Like Ben said, the transition is taking place, it's going well, and you saw them. They briefed, they met yesterday, and they're on course. And then, like Senator-elect Amara said, the president-elect got some meeting lined up in Washington, D.C., and we look forward to seeing all of these things in the interest of Liberia. Like we said, we are here to do our job, make sure that we discuss the issues, and where we can give constructive criticism, we do it. But one thing I just want to just a little bit, people, the campaign is over. We are not in campaign mode no more. It's time to unify the country. Liberia is a divided country. Look, President-elect Bouaga won 50.6% of the votes. President Weah won 49.3%. It's a divided country. When President Weah won in 2017, he won by 61% in the second round. He had a governing mandate. He had political capital. Right now, as the new president assumes office in the next 38 days, there's no room for to make any error. Just like when you have a slim majority, right now in the U.S. Congress, in the House, you have a very slim majority there. They can't afford to do anything funny, because their votes, they all have problem with their votes. So we all should be wishing well, but some people will still be thinking in campaign mode. Like Ben said, most people are now. This going election, people got involved in Liberian politics, Liberian election. So everybody was hyper. But the election's over. We have been seeing it before. When this Doe took over, when this Taylor, Ellen, and we saw Ellen twice, and we know how these processes will play on. We just pray for our country. Like, look, we are going to a crucial time in our country. Make no mistake. The incoming government, they got their hands full. In order to deliver the promises they made, they need the support of everyone. One of the first talks you notice will be the election of the speaker and the pro tem, because in order for the president agenda to go through, to carry on a lot of the promises he made, he needed the approval from the legislature. If it's not approved, it would just snag, and that's why you don't want. That's why it's important. It is key that the president-elect and his team approach the new role with be magnanimous, so that they can understand that we are in a divided country, and they got to govern from the center to make sure they bring everyone together. Because if for instance, you take for example, from what we see, from all indication, it appears that the opposition will control the legislature. From what we're hearing, things going. And if they control the legislature, there's no way you have a divided government, and the government will be able to carry on the agenda, because they can stall it. They can do anything to obstruct the agenda. So it's important. In order to make things happen, you have to negotiate. You got to go to them and find common ground. So let us look. We understand. People took their side. Everybody took their side. Now we are up to moving for Liberia. Let us make sure that Liberia is our first priority. So again, the letter from the Congress people is welcoming, and we look forward to the president-elect appearing tomorrow, and then we'll see in Washington, D.C. next week, and then get ready to go to Liberia to get his oath, and then we'll take it from there.
So let me say this. I just want to, before I lose my train of thought, build on what Tomini just talked about. There is this thing, and first of all, I want to make it clear. People, nobody's begging for people to be civil, right? It's the politics is the politics. Like Tomlin said, the United Party won the election by what, a percentage point or so. Is barely a governing mandate, barely, pretty much, right? A win is a win, but barely a governing mandate. If you look at where the CDC was when they won the election in 2018. Now, I'm bringing it up because when the CDC won her election in 2017, right, and took office in 2018, they had a much bigger governing mandate. But today the CDC is on the way out. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because at the end of the day, it is not in the governing party's interests to have an antagonistic or bombastic relationship with stakeholders across the country. It's okay to gloat. It's okay to celebrate. It's okay to, everybody can tease each other because it was a hard-fought campaign. But like Tomlin said, when you look at where we are from a governing standpoint, first of all, I know for sure that the national legislature, the speaker and the pro tem, more than likely, right, because we're waiting for the election, would not be the Unity Party heading those two institutions. So you're gonna have what you consider a divided government. Now there's gonna be cooperation. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there's not gonna be cooperation. I don't think people are going to hamstring the president's agenda or not critically look at it. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because at the end of the day, we all need to understand something. That playing the politics is okay. But when it comes to asking these hard questions, when it comes to critiquing the government's performance, there was a lot of things that the government promised, that the president-elect promised. A lot of things. You see an effort out there by surrogates and by folks from the president-elect to try to temper down the expectations, which is fine. It's left with the population to see if they will respond to that, to that appeal. But any attempt to paint a picture like you have such an overwhelming mandate and everybody is supposed to shut up in the country, that is the beginning of your problems. Because what I expect, and the smart ones are doing it, by the way. Let me say that. The smart ones are doing it. They're reaching out. They're picking up the phone. They're reaching out to stakeholders. They're reaching out to people who have voices, people who are on the radio. They're having conversations with them, not necessarily to say, oh, y'all can support us. No. But to say, listen, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be constructive. You give us some time, right? Any government at this point in time will be trying to ask for a grace period, especially knowing how polarized the country is. And so if you want it to be a Mortal Kombat sport, listen, the opposition don't have anything to lose. I used to tell my friends in the CDC all the time, yeah, Kev, I used to tell him, I said, when you are governing the country, whenever noise comes in the country, it is a negative to you because you are responsible for everybody. The opposition only responds right now. When CDC gets in opposition in January, CDC only supposed to be pandering to people who they support. The Unity Party has to pander to the entire country. That includes people in the opposition. So I think it is important for many people in the Unity Party to kind of, again, like I say, have your moment. You work hard for this. You fought hard for this. It was a hard-fought campaign. But also understand that your honeymoon may not last long. Unity Party honeymoon may not even last as long as CDC honeymoon, because when George Weah became president, he was on a high. He started his presidency on a high. I don't know if that's what the Unity Party. Guess what? I heard today that the inaugural ceremonies will be held on the Capitol building grounds. It's not going to be at the SKD Sports Complex where the CDC had theirs. I think they're reverting to where Ellen, President Sirleaf had hers on the Capitol grilling or the Capitol building. I spoke with somebody from the Joint Presidential Task Force today. So I'm just saying this because at the end of the day, we all must understand that first of all, 6 years is not a long time. It was just the other day Joe Weah got elected, right? So I thought to just put that in and to build up on what Tommy was talking about when he talked about the need for some level of engagement, not necessarily that you're not going to critique them or they're not going to critique you, but some level of engagement to look at it from the angle of saying, listen, you have a government to run, you have a country to govern, but there's also people, everybody got their role to play in this democracy. And don't try to tell the other person not to play their role, because guess what? At the end of the day, you know, you believe that your role is much better or your role is bigger than the other person's role.
You know, Ben, the mentality that folks have, this is our time. That mentality has to stop. You know, the president-elect made it very clear that he's president for all Liberians. So whether they voted for him or not, he is their president. And that mentality is that this is our time, that only UP partisan will be giving position, will be hired in the government. I think that should be removed, because he's the president of every Liberian, because he ran on that platform that he was to create opportunity for all Liberians, not for just Unity Party, but for all Liberians. But one thing, as I listening yesterday, Ben, I was watching a live feed yesterday from the transitional team. One thing that comes to mind is I see a recycle of old politicians. I see on that transitional team, no offense, but I saw Chris Masquer, I saw A.B. Krumah, and I saw who they have, Dr. Kane, former Finance Minister, and it was kind of mind-boggling to me that why is it that we keep seeing the same folks recycling almost in every government? I mean, there's no other young and other Liberians that you could bring in. Let's look at this and say, you know what? We see some new faces here. Great. We see a lot of new faces. It seems like there's a great change that is coming up. But we see the people from 12 years, all of them, and the transitional team, on the transitional team. So what is going to really change when you have the same mind from 12 years ago coming back, from a police director, from a deputy director of police, all on the transitional team? So there's nobody else after 6 years. There's no other Liberian on that level that can really come in and move the country and change the country. You bring in people who are pretty much retired and bring them back again because you don't have no trained Liberian to do that. So that was a bit mind-boggling when I saw these folks on the transitional team. Chris Massaker should be retired now, and other folks should be retired. And you're bringing them back. That really did not. I didn't see. I wanted to see something that would really say, "Wow, we are really moving far." On track. But seeing these recycled politicians coming right back to make the same decision.
I don't know if anybody else want to take a stab at it. I feel like I talked earlier, but I have a thought on it briefly. You say this, and Lofa, I think you can 30 seconds. Look, let's call a spade a spade. I never anticipated change with Joe Buckeye. I never did. I'm not surprised at anything I'm seeing right now. None whatsoever. If Liberians wanted change, I said it publicly all the time. I said it, that Joe Buckeye was not your candidate for change. Look, you got to understand, when people get elected president, what they do, the team they form, their team is composed of folks who they are comfortable with. You got to give him that. And elections have consequences, Peabody. Liberians will have to understand that this is what they voted for. They voted for the past. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the past. Now, you can only hope that those folks from the past may have learned from some lessons from the past, that they will not make the same mistakes of the past. But first of all, let me say this. You saw in the George Weah administration where you have a bunch of young people. That's not what you're going to get in Joe Buckeye's administration. There will be young people, but I don't anticipate seeing young people heading ministries. I don't anticipate seeing maybe one or two of them And again, I stand to be corrected. I'm not trying to be a hater here, right? But I anticipate a lot of these young people, and maybe it may be a good thing, right? Maybe it may just be a good thing that a lot of these young people should start from the assistant minister, the deputy minister level, and work their way up. But we're in the 21st century, guys. We're in the 21st century. I believe if what I anticipated and what I will hope the president-elect will do will be to kind of set up kind of like several advisory councils, right? Where you mentioned my own big brother Chris Massaquoi. I call him Uncle Chris. I love him. But if I hear that Chris Massaquoi is going to be police inspector general, I'm going to be like, oh my God, really? Is there nobody else who can do this job? Right? I will anticipate that Chris Massaquoi might be right now looking in more of an advisory role, right? Helping the young folks, looking at to see, because Chris Massaquoi should be able to pinpoint people who he's trained in the past that should now be able to step in and take on some of this responsibility. So I am not shocked at what I'm seeing. Contrary to what people believe, I think a lot of the young people who ended up, who are all hyped about this campaign, a lot of them are going, because guess what? They're the one who are passing around saying they were doing it for love of country. That's why I said on the show the other day, nobody should complain that they didn't get any job. Because the last time I checked, that we the one who was supporting CDC wanted jobs, who are doing it for our belly, who are doing it because we didn't love Liberia. We were supporting CDC because, in fact, George Weah was paying my rent. He was doing everything for me. So that's why I was supporting CDC, right? Good. You want the order of the day, right? At this point, what you were doing it because you love Liberia. As far as I'm concerned right now, a lot of these young people should take a step back and let Joe Boyka, President-elect Joe Boyka, go out there and form his government, and nobody should complain. Please, do not complain. You are doing this thing in the interest of the country. I think everybody should allow the president-elect to form his government. But like I said, I do not anticipate anything of a change. If you look at the inaugural, just lastly, if you look at the inaugural committee, right? The inaugural committee is headed by Miata Fambule, Marjon Kamara, George Wallace. These are veteran Liberia political actors. These are political actors from the 70s. And we're in 2023. Nothing, I'm not hating on veterans. I'm just saying, when you're in a world that you're going to be, when you're competing in a world like we're competing in, you need to be able to bring a lot of people who will be innovative in the thought process. And I don't see a lot of that happening right now.
And Ben, I hate to sound redundant here, because literally almost everything that I'm hearing you say, again, I am definitely in agreement with it. And that's part of the reason why during the elections, I made this clear and said, I don't expect Honorable Boykai to do anything different because I didn't see it in the institution that he represented. Neither do I see it in the institution that he represents today. The idea of Honorable Boykai is to recircle those politicians that, like you rightfully said, he felt comfortable with. As compared to what President George Weah did, even though I think the decision on the part of President Weah at the time to bring in young faces to hopefully give them the exposure was that they did not dig deeper into understanding, okay, what experience, in what capacity can these young people actually fit and be successful at. I think in several instances, they were set up for failure. And I think that's the only problem I see with it. But giving the opportunity to young people to be a part of the workforce, because we cannot continue to recycle these same old politicians that got us to where we are today.
But I beg you, 30 seconds, and anybody can do it. Let me say this. In defense of George Weah, in defense of President Weah, right? What I think he did was he was a disruptive president when you think about it. Constructive disruption, right? There are a lot of what I think hurt the CDC government was the messaging and the PR. Look, let me tell you something. There are a lot of young people that are in the CDC
Let me
government.
interrupt you quick.
Yeah, I come in, Kev.
Let me interrupt you quick. No, I want to speak to Lofa Ben. Lofa,
Kev, can I just finish?
No, let me interrupt you quick. Lofa, can you go on the backstage? Somebody's interrupting, some hiking going on with our system. Can you go in the backstage and look at some things quick? Ben, you can go on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Ben, you can go on.
So I was gonna say my one of the difficulties, and Tommy, I think we've talked about this before, right? Was the issue of PR and messaging when it came to the CDC administration, right? Let me point out somebody who you've never heard of, right? People never talked about her, Safwa Gray at Nukal. There was a lot of noise around Safwa when Safwa got appointed at Nukal, right? Oh, she's not qualified, she's incompetent, she's this, she's too young. Oh, he just taking the. But from what I am privy to, some of the information that I have seen, first of all, it is under Safwa's leadership that Nukal is now building a state-of-the-art headquarters, right? It's under her leadership that she was able to turn Nukal around, correct? Right? Inheriting a company that was in the red and turning over a company that his books is balanced and is now in the green. Emma Glasgow, right? Same thing. Inheriting a non-existent and a non-functioning fisheries authority. Today, you have a functioning. In fact, it is one of the most attractive parastatal right now in the government. Right? I can go on and name a lot of some of these young people. Not to say that there were not a lot of them in the government who didn't do it. And I'm not taking that away from you, Lofa. There were a lot of them who got appointed in these positions and they didn't do a jing thing. Don't get me wrong. And I think one of President Weah's shortcoming was his inability to kind of move some of these people around and take them from in their position. So I think a lot of people got comfortable in their spaces, but pivoting back to what we were talking about with VP Buckeye, I am going to be holding my breath to see who are some of the young people that Joe Buckeye are going to entrust. Because it's almost like you're going to be taking a lot of, you're going to be trying to break the status quo, right? I'm going to be to see who he's going to entrust some of these state entities in their care, and some of these parastatals, to see how are they going to perform. But I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. It's okay. And I think basically you spoke to what I was alluding to. But here's what I'm saying though, in that regards, when you are occupying positions, especially government positions, all right, you are not looking for liabilities. Okay, and in the case, yeah, there are instances where some of the individuals who were brought on board, yeah, they end up being successful. But if you look at the success rate to that of those who actually perform dismally, fail miserably, can you say the decision then actually favor that of the Weah-led government? No, a lot of the young people, they, again, like you said, they were comfortable because they were where they found themselves. They weren't placed in those positions because of competence. They were put there because of their political affiliation, because of their alignment with people in these political parties. And for that reason, they felt very comfortable sitting there and not performing to expectation. Again, we are talking about a group of people here where a lot of them with the moyan and the chanting here and there felt like this is where I belong. I was a part of the struggle. That is exactly where they found themselves, and that was like the repeat. It was like the music to them. I was a part of the struggle. I started since 2005, so I belong here. So they were not looking at what else are we bringing to the table. What else can I bring to this table so that I am contributing? I am not being a liability, but I'm contributing to the success of this government, because this is why I joined this government, is because I believe in the ideology. Where do I fit in? I don't think they were looking at that. So when we look at the CDC government to that of the Unity Party government, this is where I feel, it's a little bit disheartening to see that an entire institution, all right, considering Liberia with a population of over 5 million, to have us recycling people who were in politics from the 70s to come today and spearhead the affairs of our nation. That is so disrespectful to the generation today. We need innovative and creative young people who will be put up front with the challenge, okay, based on their experience. There are a lot of young people around the world today who have a diverse experience. Okay, can they not be considered to contribute to the forward movement of Liberia? I see Honorable Joseph Boykai literally cherry picking those who he found himself comfortable with. Okay, those from the status quo, and that's why I said before, the reason why vast majority of the politicians in Liberia will stand against any possible change in Liberia is because they feel comfortable being where they are because they are beneficiary of a spoiled system. They are beneficiary of a system that have always worked in their best interest. So they don't care about the generation to come after. That's the reason why I don't even know if our social security system is working. You have people who will work from age 18 up until age 80, and they're still working. So how are we actually impacting the workforce? How are we transitioning with the workforce? That's part of the reason why the Western world continue to progress far better than we do. Even some of our neighbors at age 60, why are you still competing or fighting against a young man who's graduating from college and is ready to contribute to the workforce? Why are we not moving forward with some of these young people? And I see this idea of, you know, this idea of the tribal line, the nepotism. I heard recently that Honorable Boykai's sons are also part of the transitional team. I don't know in what capacity they are being added to this, but again, what that tells me is this is indeed a recycle of ideas. We are not inviting the young and the brightest to be a part of the growth of Liberia. Instead, we are comfortable being a part of a system that is spoiled, or part of a corrupt system that have been functioning before and have changed nothing, and believe that that is the best way we can move Liberia forward. And I don't think that will you bring success for Liberia.
You know what, Lofa? Let me say this. The thing is, this have been the norm for a while. It has been the norm for a while, and that's why nobody retired in Liberia at even 75 years old. They still feel the education from 40 years ago is still the same today. So they still want to go in there and think that yes, they are the best today, and that's one of the problems we face.
Who can be
Look at how
harmed?
many look at how many students graduate from the University of Liberia. Look at how many Liberians are out there in different countries, from West Africa, East, North to Europe and other places that are going home with master degree in various disciplines, but they are not given the opportunity because you got somebody who's 75, 70-year old, 68, still want to be the head of the ministry that he was at 40 years ago. And we see that as an acceptable norm, that it is acceptable. And that's why you see you have some of these long-time folks are now back on the Joe Barker thing. You talk about Larry Tukma, you talk about Chris Massaquoi, you talk about Ibrahim Kumar, you talk about others that are easily coming back because they want to head position that they had 20, 25 years ago. They broke. They retired. They got no retirement money. Now they want to come back for retirement. So when will we give the young people who have gone out there, have come with more than education? I mean, look, the books that I used in college many years ago, those books not existing no more. They are nowhere around. You know, I mean, a couple of years ago when I was doing my graduate degree, they had something way to write papers. I didn't even when I had to learn how to go back after a couple of years to use those way of writing those different writing style. You gotta have one kind of writing style for my undergraduate, but then when I do my graduate program, uh, it was different style. So the book my daughter used probably last semester, I'm not gonna use that book no more. So I mean, everything is changing, technology and everything is changing. And we have these young people who have the requisite degree and stuff that should come back and take over these things, but they are not. You keep bringing the same old people, and you want to see a change. It's not going to be possible. You're not going to change anything because these people come there. They pretty much coming there to take care of their pockets because they're not coming there. Ask the man when he graduated. Some people graduated in 1950 and you bring in there to head of the department. What 1950? Somebody that graduated. Everything that he learned in 1950 has changed. That's it.
Well, look, guys, let me tell you, let me just come here, right? Somebody said I look hungry. Talusua, he said Tomain looks hungry.
He said I broke. At least I get about two weeks pay, bro. I love the guy. The guys are
Who highlighted any comments there?
But anyway, let me go on. The guys are funny. But look, one of the problems we face in our country is that if you have professionals and technocrats who are apolitical, some of them don't want to be part of politics or any party. They only believe in serving their country, be a patriot and nationalist, They don't want, but so like Julian, you said something else. So like, I will say this though. I know people won't like what I was saying. I believe that, the vice president, like he means well, but the problem he will face is the sort of people that will be around him. He will meet a lot of resistance, because he want to do some changes, to make some change, to carry on, but then he'll be resistant because honestly, like they say, you want to know how your Christmas will be? Let me see on the eve. So like, take for example, I see people that serve the last 12 years and in the LA administration, they are all part of the inaugural program, preparing and so forth. And don't forget, all these things you see, the transitional team, they got budget for it. They're not doing it free. Transitional team got budget. So people right now, they are already playing with some little cash. The inaugural committee too, they got budget. They're playing with some cash. So all the things that are happening right now, and I can bet you, at the end of the day, you say, somebody will be crying, say, some people then in the inaugural money, they play with the transitional team money. You hear all that thing coming up. But and you hear this thing coming up. But maybe I can tell you, they will say we pray for the president to do well, to be well, so that he can make sound decisions and so forth for the good of the country. Especially when he's announcing his cabinet, so that we want to see the cabinet. The important thing is the cabinet. I want to see what will be the foreign minister, the finance minister, information minister, justice minister, and the minister of state. These are important ministries that we're looking forward to. And we are on an obligation, gentlemen. When we start to hear these names that will be coming up, we should be able to, for the good of the country, to critique these people that will become potential officials. So I am telling them, if you know you got a skeleton in your closet, you be making be more around here, and you get something here, when your needs start popping up, we are going to scrutinize you, we'll critique you, we'll talk about you. If you get any dirt on you, we'll talk about it. We'll talk it. So that we want the president-elect to make sure that he bring a brand new team to make everything fine. And lastly, I was talking to somebody yesterday. People think they will just dismiss the CDC, the party. No. Don't make no mistake. When CDC was in opposition, Madam Salif, to her credit, she handled the CDC well, because the CDC, every time she had a good relationship with the CDC political leader at the time, President Weah. That's how come she was able to just have a smooth ride. Because whenever there was issue, she was able to go to them. In fact, she even brought in her government as peace ambassador, try to make sure that things were fine. But you think you're going to say, I will just dismiss the people, I will just ostracize them and make things hard for them, you're making a mistake. Because to President Weah credit, one of the things that he gave people free the last 6 years, the freedom of speech, freedom of association and assembly. People could assemble, they could protest and everything. So, and one of the things you might understand too, when people start to protest, they scare investors away. So the best you can do for the good of the country, make sure when people are having issues, you don't just overlook them. You engage them so that you guys have common ground. Because if you decide to just dismiss them, say, oh, no, you're nobody, and you're not going to, will make things hard for you. Nobody will put their money in your country where every many people on the street will placard and making noise. So people should understand. And we repeat, when we talk about this country being a divided country, the vote tells you the fact. So the best to do, you go out from the center and try to form that a government that will be inclusive and people can all benefit and be part of it. Else, you just need to have a problem. So that's all we can say, guys.
So Dominic, when you say, and maybe Kev can come here, Robert, it's good to see you. When you say, the classic thing, I want to find out from you with this about, the president-elect mean well, or this president mean well, or that president mean well, but the people around them. I find that I've always found that hard to swallow, because I think leaders are supposed to be good judge of characters. I'm not saying you're perfect, right? I'm not saying you will not make mistakes, or you will not make a wrong decision at some point in time. And nobody's perfect, right? But this notion, and that's something we do a lot in Liberia, right? Where we tend to blame people around the leader, forgetting to understand that the buck stops with the leader, right? The leader is the ultimate decision. He or she is the decider. If a bad character is around a leader, it's because that leader wants that bad character to be around him or her. So this notion, and when we're talking about somebody like President-elect Joe Buckeye, he has enough experience in life as a whole, but then in government as a whole, to not be sucked up into this notion of, oh, the people around me made me make the wrong decision. No, I'm sorry. I think I said this to somebody the other day. I said, President-elect Buckeye should not. I would not expect to have to hear of any friction, or to hear of any blown out friction between him and his vice president. I won't. Why? Because President-elect Buckeye has been a vice president. If anybody should know how to treat a vice president, or what not to do to a vice president, and what kind of powers and what kind of responsibilities to give to a vice president, it should be vice president. It should be a President-elect Joe Buckeye. He should be in a better position to be. So I'm not saying they're not going to disagree. I'm not saying they're not going to have a difference of thoughts. But, like where you see you have a full-blown crisis, and you see, oh, no. Like what happened, in the beginning of the CDC administration? No, we don't anticipate to see that. Right? If we see that, then it speaks volume about this man's experience. It speaks volume about this, what people say, what people have been trumpeting about him. So, like, you're right on one thing. I think the first set of appointments President-elect Buckeye makes will determine what kind of government he's going to be leading. The characters he will appoint in his government, we will all know. Say, okay, this is a man that looks like he's about to change things around. If you see a bunch of old dinosaurs, old heads in the game, people who have, again, like I say, I have nothing against experience, but those are the kind of decisions that we're going to be watching to see. We're going to be seeing how he's going to be making some of these decisions, and what is going to be the process in how he's going to be doing this. Right? We're also going to be looking to see how he deals with the legislature, how he engaged the legislature. The legislature could be a strong partner for him in his agenda, or the legislature could be a very, very obstructive in the engagement with him. You see what his name, right? You see, Yeke has already made his pivot. Yeke said, as far as he's concerned, he's no longer part of the Unity Party. He ain't got nothing to do with the Unity Party. He's caucusing with the opposition, because he wants to come across as somebody who is in the interest of the Liberian people. Let us also not forget, and my last point on this, and then maybe Robert and somebody else can come in. Let us also not forget that we have a society that is heavily infested with the opposition mindset. We have a society that is heavily infested with opposition mindset. The moment some of the heroes of today, some of the people who people are clapping for today, are going to be the villains next month. They're going to start to be the villains in the next 2 or 3 months. I told my brother Mo Ali the other day, I said, Jay, by the time you start riding your own government car and you start passing around and attending events and you move into your, your high-rise building, you become a villain. That is the society that we have bred. That is what we have encouraged in our country, right? So let's get ready for it. So, and I agree with Tommy, the CDC the CDC might even be a more effective political institution in opposition than they probably were in governing the country. And so the Unity Party has his work cut out for her. And then the last thing is that Joe Boyka is not Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, because a lot of people are making that mistake. People are thinking about the last 12 years under the Unity Party. Joe Boyka is probably going to be a totally different president from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and it's going to be telling, because his political savviness is going to have to come into play in how he deal with people in the opposition, people who don't agree with him.
Well, let me say this. Sometime when folks have that illusion, staying out in that world, thinking that things will be different from JMB. The American people had the chance to choose between Barack and Hillary. Hillary Clinton came with the entire Bill Clinton folks. Remember, the Bill Clinton had a surplus. The economy under Bill Clinton were fantastic. Some of us who were in this country, we know that it was good. It was great. Every corner you pass, you will see jobs were all over. But they needed a change. So they voted for Barack in the primary. Because the Democrats say, we're moving forward. Let's go somewhere. Despite that. But in the case of Liberia, they decided to go backward. Because if you don't want George Weah, there was a guy in the race that you could have gone to. But you decide to go backward. You had Cummings that you can say, you know what? Okay, I don't want Joe Weah. Let's go to Cummings. But you decide to go backward. Then we want to wait and see who we appoint. Joe Boyka not going to appoint anybody that is strange. Look at his committees. These are Joe Boyka people. Look at his committees. Folks wondering why JMB is in America. He's not around. Nobody's seeing him. They're just saying picture. This is what you're going to get. Because they manage him during the campaign, they're going to manage him this way. They show you that. You're not going to see nothing different. That's how it is. So in the next couple of years, you're going to see this. This is what you want. Because the reason, number one, most folks voted for JMB, not because they thought he's going to change, because they vote out of their own biasness. So folks took their God-given intelligent mind and lock it up in the box and vote for JMB because they want to, because of their own biasness, their own and greed, their mentality based on hate. Because if you are voting on the issues and you wanted to change, like other country, you had Mr. Cummings. You would say, okay, JMB will try before your government. We won't want you. Joe, we are okay. We won't like you. We'll go to Mr. Cummings. Then people will say, okay, the people moving somewhere, something happened, but you decide to go back. What sense that make? And then we'll sit and say, let's give them a chance. I don't need no chance to give them. The Liberian people, some of them, not everybody, because the country is split. The 1.28% decide to take the country backward. Now you have a president who tend to be the newest GQ88. If some people who out there know that Tomlin and folks there, maybe Ben and Robert and Lofa, I don't know who GQ88 is, but Ben, but yeah, you guys are young folks that you don't know what GQ88 is. But GQ88, you know, he came out back in the 88. He was shining. He was doing. I know him personally. He's my guy, you know. So, but now GQ88 is in Germany. He doing his thing. But now Joe Walker is the new GQ88 in town. It's the newest guy in town. Taking picture, putting his foot up, you know, holding a jacket, you know. His pants is swagging and all that. What joke is that? I thought you were hitting at Joey. I said, oh, he been young, he been playing football on the streets. Carrasco, his wiping his boots. You guys got mad. I remember the Lofa played that on his show. Lofa was mad. He was going crazy. He almost wanted to bust his whole house because of that. Now you get Juku. You get a guy who's sitting down around putting his pants down. An 80-year-old man putting his pants down. You guys, Liberia is becoming a mockery. Mockery. How can you have a leader all the show picture sitting on the bus station waiting for a ride? Hey man, what kind of country? When you go to the past, that's what you would get, because they realize that the people, the 1.28% decide to take the whole country backward. The whole country. Now you gave us some old guy who's swagging his pants, who want to be young, who forcing to be young, who they showing to the world, putting him somewhere, all to do photo ops, taking to imagine if we believe the picture. We in this country, Lofa, in Rhode Island, the New England area, the weather is freezing cold. You cannot be out there with just a thin sweater and just a jacket, and then you out there with just a hat. You're supposed to be wearing a cold hat with the gloves. People Google it yourself. So if we believe that picture, he's risking himself because he want to be the newest GQ88 in town. Robert, I'll pass it over to you, my brother.
Robert, quickly, let me just, I want to throw something in there real quick. Actually, you know what? Come here, Robert. We've been here.
Go ahead.
No, come here, man. Come here. Kev just said everything, but you know, I'll get back at Kev in a little bit. So let me give you the opportunity to come here, Robert. Go ahead.
But it's great to be back. Guys, how we doing? Good to see all of you guys. I was looking through the papers today, and I found something that caught my attention, which is the congratulatory message that came from some U.S. senators, Chris Coons, Cory Booker, and Mr. Holland, and they in that congratulatory message to Joseph Boycott, they were really impressed with his message and his commitment to fight corruption in Liberia, and there was a highlight piece from the outgoing Ambassador McCarthy, where he basically expressed his disappointment with the Ria-led government to at least formally address some of these allegations from the USG with regards to sanctions. And so I was just thinking and talking to a few folks, and I said to myself, to be honest with you, we are in the 21st century, and things have changed from 40 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. But I was just thinking, I said, to be honest with you, I do not want to be Joseph Boakai right now. I do not wish to be Joseph Boakai. I do not wish to be in his position, because I believe that I don't think even Joseph Boakai has processed, and I don't think they've started formulating a strategy to what would be considered a priority when they take office January 22nd. Because what's coming from the U.S. and it's something that they do not expect. Joseph Boakai, with a shaking economy that needs to be strengthened, with a divided country, it's obvious that that we are split politically, and job creation, the expansion of healthcare, and I know that they're going to have to address this some of the things that CDC did. Some challenges has been out there, but number one on Joseph Boakai desk, from our international partner perspective, is this fight against corruption and the prosecution of folks that have been sanctioned. And from all indications, I don't anticipate Joseph Boakai looking at this as his number one priority. And so I'm hoping that outside of the pictures that we have seen, I'm hoping that outside of the GQ 88 that Kev alluded to, and all of the fun is funny. Look, it's great to see Joseph Boakai looking great. It's great to see him healthy. We need him to stay healthy because we want him to be fit enough to call the shots. And I mean, there's a lot that he will be inheriting. There's a lot of decisions that will need to be made. And I'm hoping that they are putting things in perspective, because of all of the congratulatory messages that have come through. I think that the United States foreign policy and everything else that I've seen, I think they have a sole interest yet, and that interest will expand into the 500 million compact for the MCC, the possibility of even being considered. That could expand into how we fostered this U.S. and Liberia relationship. That could play into what kind of support they get immediately, and it comes with a lot of pressure. And so and not to mention the fact that within Joseph Boakai's own camp, there are people who are sanctioned. There are people who have tainted records when it comes to corruption. How does he tackle that? How is it seen as though it's not been biased or targeted? And so there's a lot to seriously really sit down and strategize. There's a lot to have the right technocrats around you dealing with these countries and dealing with what concerns Liberians the most. There's a lot of things that have to be processed here. And if anyone think that this is a joking matter, I'm sorry. This is no joking matter. I do not wish to be Joseph Boakai right now, because I believe, from my own perspective and my own layman understanding, I think that I don't think that George Weah was under this much pressure with regards to the fight against corruption, the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. If that was the case, I believe that he would have pushed for that immediately. I don't think that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was faced with this, and people who know me know that I've been one of the biggest critics of the Unity Party. But the Unity Party have been elected by the Liberian people, and Joseph Boakai becomes all of our leaders. The question now that we are faced with is what becomes a priority in those 100 days. Is it getting Liberians to work Is it stabilizing the economy? Is it uniting the country? What becomes a priority? Or is it fighting corruption? And fighting corruption, what does that entail? What does it mean? These are serious national issues. These are serious national issues. And how do you navigate these things without pissing the U.S. off? Because we know how the U.S. foreign policy works. We know how it works. It gets really ugly. It gets ugly. And we saw what happened when Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was pushed into giving up Charles Tiller. We saw what happened when Obasanjo was basically ordered to turn Charles Tiller over before landing in D.C. We know what happened. And so these are really serious matters. These are really serious matters, and these matters does not only fall on borderline fighting corruption. It falls on the stability and peace of our country. It's a lot going on. And so I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. I want to see what happens, but I want to see what becomes a priority. And I'm hoping that we start to hear some serious conversations, and I'm hoping we on this platform, we start to dive into these issues, because these are serious matters. And so I look forward to discussion, man, and thank you.
Yeah, let me just come into look. Robert, you highlighted some important points, though. Let me say this. One thing you said that caught my attention when you said that coming Joe Boyka, this the tough time to come in as president. But like I said, he may have the willpower to want to make a change, but again, it depends on his team. Because, like, for instance, right, credit to the We Are government. You already have Liberia. I think the MCC board will be examining. We're examining Liberia's chance of getting the compact, and that compact, it could be $500 million, $300 million that will come to Liberia. On the new administration. But for instance, they may put out some demands that. Are you going to prosecute sanctioned officials? And then again, number two, why they say also some of your officials that you want to even bring your government, they are all part of this coming to be, it may be sanctioned to. For instance, will you be able to cut ties with Prince Johnson? Like example, if they say Prince should be prosecuted, what will be President Boyka's role? How will he handle it? Okay, if some of his leading officials are part of it. If they ask him and say, well, the issue about Nuka, don't forget, Nuka is still hanging around, and where people connected to him in the administration were involved. I think I told you guys I had to have a document with us now where $28 million of Nuka funds yet to be accounted for, and that time President Sirleaf, she was forced to change the management team, so he may be faced with tough cards, and I bet, as Senator-elect Amar is saying, that we're meeting in Washington, D.C., some of the issues will come about, or we'll raise the issues with him about what he's going to do. And in order to get these funding, a lot of things going to happen, though. So at the MCC board, they when they meet to examine to see whether a country will qualify for a compact, a lot of things are taken into consideration. And so for instance, if they ask him that those who they talk about this issue about these audit reports from GSCs, people don't know they are being audited. There are audit reports that are already available for the gov. The only thing that's left is a political will. Okay, so President Boyka can say, well, the audit reports from early administration and from We Are administration, we're gonna start with the audit reports, start to go after to look into them, and if this report. You got people around you that are culpable, that are involved in setting betrayal of the public trust. You have to cut ties with them. So he'll be making some hard decision, and that's will be one of the challenges he'll be facing as he takes office. So, like we say, we pray for wisdom. We pray that they will make the best judgment for the good of the country, because. Take it or leave it, or if you want to succeed for all the promises that were made, people voted because, like for instance, one thing people don't understand, I hear people saying that the harmonization that took place, people believe that Because during early administration, don't forget, you had international organizations in the country, NGOs were all here. You had on-mail year. So a lot of money came in the country. If you look at the data, raw data, the WEA administration mobilized more domestic revenues in 6 years as compared to the administration for 12 years. The mobilization of domestic revenue, they mobilized more than compared to the earlier administration. So now, because at the time when Ellen was president, a lot of the direct foreign investment came into the country, so she was able to capitalize on it. So now the question would be, people expect that they're going to make the $10,000 they were making before. Okay, you have people, they call themselves county project officers. Most of our friends that came from the States here, they were making $10,000 a month. They assigned them, making these salaries and so forth. So when the WEA people came to power, they saw the payroll, they were bloated. They had no choice but to say, well, we cannot continue with this. Then you have the IMF program that Liberia is personally on, the IMF program. IMF program now is very strict, and they have to follow it according to the law in order to continue with the IMF program to help Liberia. So we really want to see the challenge. We'll see how you're going to handle this thing. But again, like I said, it depends on the team he will put into place. He put a good team together, who will be. And lastly, the people at the central bank, don't forget, they are tenure people. So right now, he has to continue with the central bank people. So they are tenure people. You have the three governors there, the Governor Talu, Governor Dukla, and Deputy Governor Pearson. These people have tenure. You got to continue their tenure. They end their tenure. If you want to remove these people as tenure officials, you got to pay them off. Tell me, paying one person almost $400,000 to get them off. So you don't want to go through that process. So you have tenure people, even at the GSC, at LSCC, you have tenure people. You have to make sure that you follow that, even at LRA. So a lot of things they got to, and as a transitional team that are meeting, these are things that I think they are discussing, they are going to see. So people should understand that taking office, government is another thing after campaigning. So we look forward to see what happens in the first 100 days. As we have 38 days to go for inauguration, let's see what happens.
All right, guys, we will hopefully like to give our audience the opportunity to chime in the conversation. Hopefully, we can open up the line.
Well, let me just say something before too many come in. Sorry,
right, go ahead.
Too many said something. You talk about the tenure position, and if you try to remove them, you're going to pay thousands of dollars. But to me, there was something that came up the other day from former Auditor General John Malou, where he talked about that there will be no absolute dime given to anybody, like in terms of seventh pay or whatever. The boycott government will not get anybody dime. So what I'm saying, if these severance pay or retirement, what if they were legal, if it's in the book, does he have any right to do that?
The last time I checked, if the good thing, but he's not the president-elect, so that's why when he comments, that threat he's making is just, I think, I call it bluff, because only President Boyka will make that kind of statement, because Malou knows too. Malou should be aware too that it's not secret. When he was hired by President Salif, the European Union was paying him $15,000 a month, and besides that, he was also getting paid by the Liberian government, which it wasn't fair. So things will come up though, and so I know no one will be dumb enough to come and say that a law that was passed by the legislature, which is a law, and that if Tomalin is a tenure official, with all nothing I did, you just can't remove me. My tenure is still in effect, except I did something that warranted for me to be removed. But if you're going to remove me because of politics, you will pay me. Even if you got to pay me. That's one of the reasons why the people when you talk about NX support, you talk about the judiciary system. Because you go to court, the Supreme Court, wherever they go, they will tell you, say you owe this person, you got to pay them. The person did nothing wrong but serving their country, and they have a tenure position. You want to remove them because of politics, you will pay them. So that's what will happen. So Malou just talking it, and the last time I checked, he's now Joseph Boyka, so it's just bluff.
So, Tamerlane, in that regards, though, before we even open up the phone lines here, something that we continue to ignore here is the elephant in the room. Prince Johnson is a part of this entire process. Prince Johnson would not simply sit and be ignored. Um, Take it or leave it. I heard Ben mention the fact that Honorable Borkai should be ready, and he should be well prepared because of his experience in the Ellen-led government. But I can tell you, as disruptive as Prince Johnson is, Senator Prince Johnson is, that is going to be one of the biggest problems that Honorable Borkai will have to deal with. President-elect Borkai is going to have to deal with because he will want every recommendation, okay, every suggestion to be accepted. That's who he is. He feels like he controls everything at this point. And will Honorable Boykai be willing, President elect, will he be willing to accept all of these recommendations, all of these suggestions that may be put forth? This is where I think feathers will be ruffled and people will actually start to get on the fence here. And don't forget, the United States again warned us about Senator Prince Johnson. But remember, Senator Prince Johnson is in bed with these guys. They're not going anywhere, and he's not going anywhere. He's here to stay. As a matter of fact, he's targeting the presidency. So, what will be Honorable Boykai's reaction when he starts to demand places and say we must get this?
You know, generally,
He's
you guys can chime in though, but let me just say that, you know, one thing about this, about politics, our Liberian politics, you know, when people were seeking endorsement and making concessions, I mean, trying to get together, form alliances, promises were made. And especially with a person like Prince Johnson, one of the reasons why, you know, he's somebody who he's come up with these promises we made to him. He wanted to ensure that it is you follow through with it. So, but again, when you president, you're not no. They can say, well, when you president, you're not no obligation to say, well, is wherever we negotiated, I will follow through with it. Because honestly, if Boga going to look at all Prince Johnson demand and say, well, he want the ministry that agency and this and that, and he's going to follow through with it, then I think he'll be starting for on a failing path. So the thing is that perhaps, who knows, this will be the administration that will finally bring Johnson to go to bring the justice, whatever the case. Who knows? You know, because there are people who right now, I don't know. I think I heard you saying last time, Lofa, you guys are still preparing for this peace article, this march for war crimes code, right?
In April.
Yeah, I heard about that. April, there's a big protest coming in Liberia for war crimes code, war and crimes economic code. So who knows? And making demands and so forth. And you know how you're going to end. And people because one of the promises were made that they will ensure that this time around we have this code that will come forward, and the legislature will be compelled to either to take it up and so forth. So I'm sure that if Boga really want to succeed, he's going to handle Prince Johnson, because he allowed him to just have his own way. You have a problem, especially right now when people are accusing him of being close to the presidency. So I think Boga would need to really get his act together and ensure that he really governed according to how he was like what he was elected to do, and not to just let one person try to control him or bother him. So, but I believe that he have answers for Prince Johnson. I believe so.
Well, but you know, I think what we've done. You know, let me read the what McCarthy said. And by the way, I have not agreed with this ambassador. I think I think he didn't play the traditional ambassador role, right? He ruffled a lot of feathers, and his approach at times was not diplomatic, to say the least. But he says something that I agree with to some extent, which is, you know, the fact is that no Liberian government entity has even formally addressed our accusations to initiate an investigation to determine the veracity of the USG, right? And to his point, if I was accused by the US government and it became a visa issue, that's one thing. But if I knew that I played a role that did not represent the accusation that has been leveled against me, then I want a government that will initiate some formal investigation and subsequently some prosecution based on the facts. And the government could also say, based on our preliminary investigations, look, we have to stand up. Based on our preliminary investigations, we don't have enough of the facts to prosecute John or Paul or Esther on what has been leveled against them. We have not done that as a country. And what government has done, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf pushed the buck over to the World Economic Crimes Court over to George Weah. And a lot of people don't want to say this. But when you looked at what George Weah was on, no government and no one wants to be the one to make that ultimate decision with regards to the establishment of War Crimes Court, and finally and once and for all, prosecuting people who have committed crimes in Liberia. Those people have voices. They've been elected. They are senators. They are representatives. Ellen pushed the buck to George Weah. George Weah have pushed the buck on to Joseph Boakai. It's a trickle-down effect, and we have come back to a circle where the Unity Party under a different leadership now have got to make that decision. But I think it is in the best interest of everyone who have been sanctioned. If you want to clear your name, this is not about being targeted. That includes Prince Johnson. That includes anyone else that is within the ranks of Unity Party, or those who have helped Unity Party ascend to the presidency. Open an investigation with external and internal professionals, okay, so that it's not a Liberian thing where people feel like, well, this Liberian did it, and so I don't like this guy, he came from this party. Get some external help. Let's look at the facts, and if there will be some prosecution, it's not the United States government that is prosecuting these people. It's the Liberian government will be doing these prosecutions. So they have to go to the courtroom with facts. And if anyone should clear that name, if my name should be clear and I'm convinced that I did not commit those crimes, I need to have my day in court. And where the facts leads is where the facts goes. Simple as that. But no government have even formally initiated any investigation. These are just allegations. They cannot just remain allegations. Because when we start looking at these allegations to making constitutional decision with regards to whether or not elected officials can take their seats based on what I don't know, then it creates an issue and it becomes a constitutional and a legal issue. So I'm hoping that this government can look at these facts, look at some investigation, and communicate with the public and say, look, here we are. John Paul was accused of this based on the facts, based on what we've gathered. I don't think we have enough to prosecute, and we move on like that. That's the only way we can checkmate whether or not the United States government got it wrong. Because look, none of us are perfect. They have not always gotten it right, but we have failed to fight and tackle corruption domestically. And this is what happens when you don't put your own house in order. Someone else comes from outside and does it for you.
Unfortunately,
that's a question, guy.
Took a hot hit on that. They got a very hot hit on that. So because
that's a question, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got to take phone though. We're running out of time. Yeah.
Well, let's Tamale can come in so we can take calls. The phone lines are.
I want to ask a question. People are like, we hear about sanctions, but the U.S. government come up with sanctions, right? But they just come up with these sanctions, and then I hear Liberians saying, so how will you prosecute? How will you go after somebody? What evidence? You got to come and say, well, yeah, what we have to go after these people, because the sanctions, the U.S. government just come up with these sanctions and just leave it hanging, and that's all. There's nothing behind it. So if you tell President Boakai or say, well, prosecute these people, you have to provide them the evidence, right, guys? I need to have to provide the evidence.
Yeah, let me come in. The U.S.
we got calls coming through. Okay,
let me just answer this quick. Yeah, listen. They made a statement. They said the sanction is to protect itself. They made a statement. It's there. Just because Liberian people don't want to listen, meaning that they don't have the hardcore evidence that you think they have to bring. When they ask the acting ambassador in Liberia right now, I think her name is Rodriguez. She said she was on the Prime FM. She said your look online, evidence are there. And what she's talking about is the accusation. So in the next month and a half or 2 months, you're going to be having the JMB government. Let them prosecute. Let them prosecute. Because if you're going to go to the courthouse with just a human intelligence or something, you're not going to win. I keep telling people, when you look at Serrano Cephas is still practicing in Liberia because there's no hardcore evidence, and he stayed on the African Bar Association as well as European Bar Association. And again, European Bar and the African Bar Association asks for evidence. They're there. You can research it. Nothing coming. So let's see. It'll be disappointing to Liberian, and they will get on JMB back because they're not going to get anything they think they're looking for to see that evidence. Read the accusation on the sanctioned individual and see how possible they can come up with some of this thing. It doesn't even make a damn sense.
Okay. All right, Kev. Let's take these callers here. Caller from 202, last four is 2214. Your name and where you calling from? Let's hear from you.
Yeah, good evening. This is Breakable Power. Mr. Raul, thank you so much. You show your good point. But I really want to ask a question. What about the war that American has sanctioned somebody and the country prosecute that person? Apart from that, give me a elaborate the discussion.
Great question. Great question.
The edit crew, those other people are very sanctioned. When last the government in power ever prosecuted people, in fact, the embassy said these things are allegations. They said they are allegations.
Thank you.
And it was as simple as all because it's legal matter. Want to make it clear the politics. The post that the potential said this allegation is not too deep person. Then people that know the truth, it's all singly, they say everything. The whole country, that only Liberia alone, the best president people around the world, and it's now being prosecuted by the country. So it's not disquality. I think we have to look at both sides. Not because somebody say, oh, people do this, about this process, they want to prosecute a person for what?
Thank you.
And this is what I'm saying.
Thank you. Let's take the next caller here. Caller 267, last four is 9187. Your name and where you calling from?
Peter Lawrence from Massachusetts.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, Julius, this whole issue of sanction or whatever, like Kev previously stated, Catherine Rodriguez was cautioned on Prime FM, and she said the evidence is out there. How do you get this type of evidence to prosecute people if the person that prosecutes levying allegation against you that says the evidence is out there? Out where? So where do you go to find it to prosecute those people? And they come back and tell you, say, the remedy to that is good behavior. So they determine that you're putting up good behavior or you stay putting up bad behavior. Why don't you take the people to court or now? Where you going to get the evidence at the first thing? Then the next thing, you got to find your own evidence. The people that accuse these people not bringing evidence, when they say you must go the evidence out there, then the next thing they say, based on good behavior, it will be lifted. They still have to determine whether the behavior now is good. So are you just going to be holding people and say, okay, the people say this and that, so persecuting you? These things are difficult. If I accuse Julius of something, I should be able to prove that evidence or give the evidence that this is what I find against Julius. So let's try and go, how you call it, on Julius because of this thing that he did. Well, I think you get and see the evidence out there. Out where? So this thing is difficult than people think it is. That's just what I wanted to call for. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to believe those are the two calls we have for now. I guess we could go back to the conversation. How much time do we have, guys?
Look, let me say this. If look, the United States understands what burden of proof means, and they know what that entails. Okay. If I accuse anyone of doing anything, it's on me to prove that, right?
Exactly.
It's on me to prove that. And so what has happened here is that look, the fact of the matter is we have not done a good of a job really disciplining our own citizens that have done bad things to hurt our development and to really ease off some of these burdens of our people. That's the fact. We have not done that job, but we have to start being smarter. Most of the folks who work in the Liberian government, and a lot of us, we got our education right here. We've worked in this country, though. You can't tell me that some of these guys are smarter than us, right? If the allegation is level, there have to be a preliminary investigation from the government of Liberia. And that investigation must first center around the norm of innocent until proven guilty. That investigation must focus on collaborating with the USG and saying, look, we would like to have these people have their day in court. Where are the facts? The American government are not persecuting these people in U.S. courts. They're not. This whole thing is about dependency. It's about dependency. We depend on the United States government for a lot of things. And when that happens, then guess what? It's either that way or no way. But there are other ways to mitigate this stuff. We can't just say, I'm not going to be happy with an allegation against me. And I'm sitting in my roof and I'm okay with just not coming to these United States because I have everything that I want. Let the government initiate an investigation, and the government and our legal system must be brave enough to look in the face of the United States Treasury Department based on the facts and the truth to say, look, we do not have enough to persecute in our courts. And if they do have enough, go to court. Look at what happened to Alex Cummings, for instance. We wasted taxpayer money on hearsay and all of these political tactics. What became of that situation? We cannot continue to do this. But the fact that we have not done what we need to do domestically, the fact that we have not created these institutions to function at an independent level as they should, the fact that we don't even trust our own legal system.
Robert, I got callers on the line.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, thank you, guys. My name is Merlin Singh Yadro from New Jersey. And thank you guys for the deliberation. But one thing I want to say about all the discussion you guys have here about the sanctions specifically is the United States, this is how United States has been destroying third world country. Like our country, Liberia, with the kind of vast resources we have there, the oldest independent country that was established by United States. What have they done for our country? Their failure to help develop our country is what got us today like this. So when you have a smart leader trying to help to build our country, they get rid of the person. The killing of our leader, the getting rid of our leader has always come from the United States. It doesn't come from Europe. What is the essence of the sanctions they are saying? I listened to A.B. Wynn on Freedom FM yesterday. He read about the whole sanction. That whole sanction has nothing to be proven in court. They cannot prove it in court. Just as the previous caller said, the evidence are out there. How do you accuse somebody, try to destroy the person's life? Because anything that comes out of America is considered greatly by the world. You accuse somebody, but you cannot prove. You cannot prove what you said. You can't show proof. You see the evidence are out there. Look at some of the things they said about Jefferson Koji. He has control over the youth. So does having control over people a crime? And so why they are not indicting Donald Trump for having control over the Republican Party, for having hijacked the Republican Party and having it under control? So I don't see that sanction as anything significant, but it is just meant to destroy our country. Influential figures that are coming up that they see them potential to destroy them. That's what it is for. And you got Unity Party people celebrating it. You got other Liberians celebrating the downfall of other Liberians. That is completely wrong.
Thank you.
It's not going to help our country. It's not going to help our country.
Thank you. All right. And you know, guys, let's be honest to ourselves here. In as much as we will want to blame the United States for protecting their citizens, again, we also must take responsibility for part of why we are here, part of why the United States is actually out here issuing out these sanctions, and again, I think we are at liberty to hopefully exhibit some good behaviors when it comes to governance. Okay, you can't sit around and
Sound like a child.
what do you mean good behavior? And again, I think I was specific when I said when it comes to good governance. Can you sit around here and say of all of the allegations, of all of the things that were done during the Wheeler government, not a single one of them you see that Samuel Toure or Nathaniel McGill, who was sanctioned, should be held accountable for? Can you honestly say that? This is the reason why we cannot say we expect the United States to prosecute any of our citizens. I think we spoke about this before. We are a sovereign nation. They can alert us as to what they expect of us. Now it is upon us to do what is expected. We're not asking them, we cannot ask them to come to Liberia and prosecute anybody. No, we cannot do that. It is upon our government and others who are supposed to protect the citizens to do due diligence. Unfortunately, they're not doing it. But here we are again looking to shift the blames. We are not looking to take responsibility for our problem. We are shifting blames.
Let me come in on this. Somebody please few minutes. Listen, the problem of Liberia, you cannot sanction 7 officials for one party. If you actually want to solve the problem in Liberia, it got to be a blanket, because you cannot say to yourself that only George Weah government of the official of CDC are the only corrupt folks in Liberia. That's the biasness we are talking about. And when you look at the sanction, they use the same language they use all over the world, and including some African countries. The same language they use. They use one language on McGill. They twist it and turn it around, because we all know the Americans are very good with words. Turn it around and use it on Koji. The same language. If you read it, the same thing. It's like they have a template that they just go in there, take it out, and just put it there. So if you look at it, the same thing. When you watch the Human Rights Report, I will give people homework to do. Look at the Human Rights Report of most of the country around. Same language, same thing, change a different name, tweak it a little bit. We got to understand, and we got to understand why this thing going on. You cannot just say that 7 individuals from CDC responsible for the downfall of Liberia or the corruption. When you don't go back to folks that we all know, that they call the John Malusi Ellen government the most corrupt government, corrupt than Chancellor government, and the Julie Bryan government, they named them as corrupt government, and those folks are passing around and being employed by JMB. You can say all you want to say about the sanction. Fine, you can say McGill is a role, this is a role. Fine, that's what you believe. Okay, but what about the other folks? That's what we are talking about. What about the other folks? Why you only point out to one political party that the only political party, 7 of them, that don't you can't even realize that that it's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. Only one.
Let me answer a question, right? I want to ask a question to you, to the 4 of you guys. Okay, before that, let me recognize our friend and brother Herman Costa, the COP chairman. Costa is good to join us, and I know you just arrived in the mother's land, and I wish you your best wishes there and be safe. Thanks for joining us tonight. But with that being said, let me ask a question to you guys. Do you think the Liberian government will honor obligation to say, when they sanction officials of the Liberian government? You think the government will honor obligation to say, well, to have contacted the U.S. government, ask them, say, well, you sanction our officials, can you provide us the evidence of which how wow?
Let me end it to you.
Do you think
Let's talk one at a time. Let me finish. Let him land with the question.
Kev, let's talk one at a time.
Do you think?
Let him land with the question.
Hey,
my question is, do you think? Yeah, I'm talking, Kev. Yeah, I'm talking, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you think that it was the government? The government should have asked, well, because you say, well, you sanction my officials. You contact Anthony Blinken of the Secretary of State and say, my official was sanctioned. I need explanation why it was sanctioned, because what the evidence that, so that if we should do anything to prosecute them, we need the evidence. So do you think it was fair? The government should have asked or just be silent? You think it was just fair or just being silent and say, well,
okay, let me answer
the government should have asked?
Let me answer that, guy. You say yes, but let me answer.
You just got to talk. They
brought in approved lies on the accuser. I don't know if that mindset changed when it comes to Liberia, but when you accuse somebody, like the other caller said, name me any country that America accused and that country tried that person. Zero. You can do whether in Africa or where. The brought in approved is on the accuser. If I'm going to accuse,
okay.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to. That's what I ask you. If you accuse me, Tomlin, if I accuse you right now, Tomlin, you stole from the closing argument. I have to prove it. I can't just send a blanket thing there and say Tomlin stole from the closing argument. It will not be fair to you. I have to provide the closing argument with the evidence that Tomlin stole from closing argument. We forget those things because it's America. Come on, man.
I want to hear from Julius Robert and Kibari. Wait. My question, the thing is this now. So if you say you just silent, that means what when you say to provide evidence, what you know what's happening? Your officials have been publicly shamed, and they have been sanctioned, and they have been publicly, the Liberian people are looking at them differently. So you say you have been silent. The American government said, well, we'll play our part. So you think the government of Liberia on obligation to request more information?
Let's not go back to Kev on that. Let's back to Peabody.
I think too many yes. I think the Liberian government should have at least made an attempt to request the evidence from these people, asking them why you sanction our people. Can you provide us something that shows that there's the reason why you sanction our people? I think they should have done that, and that's one of the reasons we have these sanctions coming today, because of the reluctance in the government for going the extra mile and requesting those documents. People did not take you serious. It felt like you didn't go, like what Robert read today from the former U.S. ambassador to Liberia. Robert read that at some point of the show today. He read the statement that he made. The Liberian government did not go after or did not ask people for any evidence. Did not even try to reach out to them and say, look, man, I think they should have done it, and they did not do it. And that's why we have seen this wave of sanction that is coming. One thing Robert mentioned there again, he gave an example of the Cumming case that spent thousands of dollars and were wasted, and we saw what Serena for being sanctioned today. So the government should have gone the extra mile. They should have done it, but they did not. They were reluctant about it.
Let me say this. I'm not sure if any of you have looked up Sean Alex. He was a 19-year-old kid who was prosecuted in 1993 wrongfully for the death of a police officer in Boston. And after serving 20 something years in prison, he was granted a bail after new evidences came out otherwise. And when the new prosecutor came in, they said that they did not have enough evidence to move forward with a fourth trial. I think we should watch that Oh boy, am I on?
Yeah, you
You
back?
should watch that documentary. I thought it was very, very touching. So, Kev, I disagree with you a little bit here, right? I concur that the burden of proof lies with the accuser, but this is quite different. This is different in the sense that, you were talking about people's reputations here, and the accusation is coming from a partner. The accusation is not coming from Liberia or the Liberian government. It's coming from a partner. And so what we should do, and if I was accused or alleged that I was sanctioned based on my actions, and I know that those allegations are not factual, what we need to do is to initiate as a government. Let's start with being in the interest of protecting your own citizens.
Your own citizens.
Your
Exactly.
own citizens, right? Forget about the
Yeah.
U.S. Visa restriction,
Hmm.
right? But I don't want to be in Liberia with any allegations about anything that I know cannot be proven legally. And so my fight will be to clear my name in court. And I'm not going to the Americans to do that because I'm not an American citizen. If you are a Liberian citizen, Jefferson Koji, Samuel Twawe, and the others, I'm not comfortable with just being elected by my people with this thing is hanging over my head. So in the interest and the protection of our own citizens, the responsible thing to do is to engage the USG. Engage them by asking them for some proof. This is when you start a preliminary investigation. There are no persecution done in any legal case in the entire world without investigation. When an allegation is made, an allegation, even if the U.S. had evidences, right? Granted, those evidences must be evaluated by Liberian persecutors. They must look at the facts, they must look at what our laws provide, and they must make a determination whether or not they have enough to go to court. If they agree that they have enough to go to court, I want to go to court and have my name cleared. If a Liberian court grants, okay, or if someone is found not guilty of the crimes as alleged by the Liberian government, by the American government based on this section, we can then challenge the USG to say, look, our courts have found this person to be not guilty based on the facts presented in court. Now let's see what the U.S. government do. Do they still hand those sanctions over their heads, or do they immediately remove those sanctions? Can they detect to what is good behavior or bad behavior, or have our court went through the legal process?
Let me ask you this, Robert.
But we can't just keep silent.
But
We
Robert,
can't
let me
keep
ask you
silent
this.
and
The
say nothing
American-
is happening. Nothing is
Guys,
happening.
we guys are talking over each other.
Yeah, Robert, let me ask you this.
Yeah, but
The
Kevin, let
American made it clear. The American made it clear that the sanction is to protect itself. They made it clear. The second thing, they say, we're not a courtroom. We're not a courtroom. It's an accusation. We have place to go and clear yourself. They make it. They made that clear. And thirdly, let me say this: the European Bar, the African Bar Association, those guys who are they are lawyers. They know the law, right? They refuse to take Cyrano Cephas and off, right? What the reason? We are waiting for the evidence. We are waiting for the evidence.
Okay, guys.
The problem is in Liberia. In Liberia, because of that inferior complex mindsets, that because of the Americans say John Doe is criminal, we should run behind them, we should be
So let me stop you. I have to interject. I have to interject for a second, please.
Guys,
Jack,
we're out of
Jack.
time here.
I got somebody on the phone. We almost
Guys, we are out of time.
Okay.
Like we're
All right,
literally
go
out
ahead.
of time, please.
Let Sylvester
Yeah.
just give
Yeah.
something. Go ahead, Sylvester.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, and wonderful viewing, guys. Let me say a wonderful viewing to us. Listen, a part of this sanction thing, we're running around the cycle here about it. I think we did this service to this process, engaging it diplomatically. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs should have engaged with what we call appropriate shelter diplomacy in Washington. Listen, this thing did not come one night.
Thank you.
The supervision
Thank you.
process was very much weak. It did not come overnight. It was a serious, and listen, we need to now come out and stop this thing. Come back to reality and engage the realistic process that unfolded around us. It did not come overnight. What we failed to do, listen, why do you think Madam Saline government engaged in serious process of saying lobbyists in DC to lobby to be out of the government? You had Minister of Foreign Affairs sheltering between Monrovia and Washington. You listen to what Tuet said in his press briefing yesterday. He said one of the senators said to him if the government was in Washington to tell their side of the story. But we did not do it. We did not do it. All these things unfolding now, we have to say these things and say all these things. These things will do for diplomacy. We have got something diplomacy called the element of signals. We were signaling these things, but we did not do it. And those that are supposed to supervise, it's just something I don't like to talk about. We saw these things coming to us and we didn't act accordingly. And the American, listen, we have something in diplomacy called the unpleasant terrain diplomacy. Before they twist your arm, there are engagements and there are signals that will come through diplomatic channels. And we got those signals and we didn't act accordingly. It's unfortunate they have to happen this way. I'm a student of diplomacy. We have to be very clear here. We didn't do what we thought that we have done. And how the government is handling very well. This optics is terrible. It is unacceptable. But we have to come and grapple with the reality that moving forward, we need to allow the country will have to move forward. But the sanction on first the Minister of State for presidential affairs, the chief of staff in the office of the president, the Minister of Finance. This is a retaliation. It's unfortunate if we are most of these sanctions now coming out this way. I mean, I'm speaking the way I'm speaking because we need to come back to reality and stop polishing things and start speaking.
Come next week, man. We gotta go. Come next week, can't you?
Thank you, Sylvester.
Right.
Great point. Great point, Sylvester. Great point. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Let
us kind of wrap this up. Let's at least about a minute and close up. Let's remain within a minute so that we can call it a night. The guys back home got to go. It was a great conversation today. Hopefully Monday we'll be back here. And I know folks are asking as to whether we'll start inviting people to come on the show. We will start doing that. I'm pretty sure Dr. Peabody and Tomlin and the other guys are working on that part of things. So, yeah. But, yeah.
Let's make your announcement. You make your announcement of this to me? Great to interrupt you.
But man, look, let me say this, right? You know that I never voted for Joseph Boyka. And you know I'm not leaving America to go working like Liberia. You know that one clear.
I just say I don't interrupt you. I don't interrupt you.
My two girls, 16 and 15, they stay in high school. I will not go to Liberia until they can go to college. So I want it clear. But when people ask us, they say, look, please make our announcement. You got to do it for the people. We'll do it for anybody.
You're right, bro.
So tomorrow, if the president-elect will be making a public appearance in Rhode Island. Our guys are already there. They arrived today. They are getting ready. They will do a live from there. We pray. I know last week the president-elect should appear in Pennsylvania. He did not show up. But again, we got information that he'll be appearing in Rhode Island tomorrow. We look forward to see him, and everything will be the program to engage Liberians. If we do not see him tomorrow, we'll make some calls to find out what's going on. We'll just see him in Washington, D.C. next week too. If we do not see him in Washington, D.C. next week, we'll have some concern. At the end of the day, we got 38 days for the inauguration. And once come January 22nd, if we should be with the president-elect in Liberia, then we'll start having some concern. But right now, we believe he'll be in Liberia. We believe he'll be to the event tomorrow and next week in Washington. So let's wait for that time. But just to close my closing comment. Look, it's been a good show, guys. Thanks a lot. And again, beginning next week, we'll be putting on our cash out to our guys in Monrovia who in the studio. Like you see Herman Jala is almost after 12 o'clock now. He's in our studio. It's on Dupo Road. I went there several times. People already went there and so forth. And the guys at Hot FM who carry our program live. We want to really bless them so they can bless their families. We know how tough it is right now in Liberia. Things are tough. we'll start looking forward next week to bless them so that they can bless their families. Because they do a good job for us to keep us going on the air live. On in Liberia, you guys have been heard all over the country, all in the counties right now, hearing you guys, all of us right now. So we help them. But lastly, just to close, the issue of the sanction, right? I believe the Liberian government, whoever government they should have, make an appeal. I mean, don't think about that. They should have engaged the U.S. government. Say, look, you sanction my officials. I want to know. Give me the evidence of what was sanctioned on. So, if anything that necessary for prosecution, we can do it. But just sanction them. And if you say you're silent, what happens is this: the U.S. government, they don't care. They say, well, you're going to be silent in his business. They're not coming to our country, and they are not. We probably shame them. All they're doing. So, I believe the government should have stepped up to have asked to make some inquiry about these sanctions, not to just be silent. Because again, if you continue to do it, it's going to be more and more and more. Like we hear again, more coming January, including people from even the Boga team, somebody will be involved too. So if you continue to be silent, they'll continue to just twist you. And lastly, buddy, you need lobbyists, you need PROs, you need engagement with the Black Caucus, and also with bipartisan congressional people. You need to have these people in part of your engagement to make sure that you are strong in Washington. But if you just sit quietly, trust me, Washington will continue to arm twist you and do anything they feel they're doing to you. But thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. And the guy, she said, we love Liberia. Don't instigate whatever JB. I can enjoy people. Anyway, guys, will have a good weekend, man. Well, nice show, Robert. Lofa, thanks a lot, man, for the background, Christmas background. Thank you so much.
Actually,
thank you, guys.
Thank the folks who requested. I think it was Lo-Fi Baby, something. Her name. Patient Lo-Fi Baby. She requested that. So we had to make it available for her. She's one of the advisors in the chat room. So yeah, she requested that. So
my Christmas on you, my Christmas on you.
Yeah, but let me say, man, Chris Show, guys, we're looking forward to being back on Monday. They have we have a chat room. We don't get involved. We just read the comments, and the other day we attempted to write something. I'm like, no, we're not allowed to do it. But people just come on and critique the show, what went right and what went wrong and stuff like that. But I think it was a great show, and we need to continue this conversation. I'm looking forward to all the news and what happened over the weekend, and we'll bring it up. But guys, man, Lofa, Robert, we miss you. It was great. You got to stand that stuff, Robert. But anyway,
Robert, independent free thinker.
Yes, sir. But look, always a great show, man. I miss Liberia. I'm tired right now. I have not been back home since July, so this is not normal. But I know I will make a few trips back home next year. But look, these are serious times, man. These are really serious times, and if the handlers of Joseph Boakai think this is a joking matter, shit. January 23rd is right around the corner. When they get to the executive mansion, they will have a lot on their desk, a lot of difficult decisions to be made. And I will say this: if Simon Twe and others truly believes that the allegations against them in his word are unbelievably unfair and not true and does not represent their character, then they should push the Unity Party-led government to initiate some preliminary investigation into this matter. Someone asked, what would happen if a court in Liberia found anyone who has been alleged of what is accused in the sanction not guilty? Guess what? If a Liberian court finds me not guilty of the allegations against me by a U.S. Treasury Department, then the U.S. Treasury Department is then mandated based on our foreign policies and our own law as a sovereign country to act accordingly. My country, after I've had my day in court and they found me not guilty, the United States government cannot continue to hang that over my head because I've gotten due process, I went through the system, and the facts has proved otherwise. This is why it's important that the government acts. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Rosalind Cooper and Patient Lofa Baby Sema, you'll be our guest next week.
Kev, go ahead.
You see, the problem in Liberia will continue. The reason will continue because I think a lot of Liberians have this slave mentality. when you try to say something, they see it in another way. But I think we have to speak, the truth. For me, I covered by the First Amendment, so I will continue to speak the way I am. People can chicken out; they can say what they want to say, but I can say this. I can say this that uh, the burden of proof lies on the accuser. If you get last week, a week and a half ago, Maggie had a press conference. He said, "Bring the evidence." He asked publicly. Not only that, he wrote to the whole world, "Bring the evidence." CFOS did the same thing. Twelve had a press conference. All these guys are defiant. They're all defiant. Then we'll sit and say, "Oh no, you have to crawl on your knee and go up Mama Point, say somewhere, lay on your knee and say, I beg you, bring me the evidence." That you wonder why places like Sierra Leone, even though we have seen the protests and protesters were killed, we have seen they accuse them, Marabio, of stealing election and still now under sanction because the Americans know that the mindset of some Liberians are slave mentality. They know that. They know exactly the way they think. They will tell you. Some will say on some show we'll listen the other day, say America owns Liberia. That's what some people say. A man with a PhD said that yesterday, America owns Liberia. Maybe correct because of the mindset of people. You cannot sanction a 7 for one party. You tell them they're responsible for the corruption in our country. Am I stupid? No. And the reason Americans will listen to people like us because they know we're sensible enough to read between the lines. They know we're sensible enough to read between the lines. And let me say this: Congress voted, the American Congress, including John McCain, voted against Nelson Mandela. They call him criminal. They call him corrupt. They call him a terrorist. They call him the names. And you know who fought for that in Congress? Was the president of America called Joe Biden. It's on YouTube. Go and see it. He was banging the table and said, "What you guys are doing? That's the American way." America is a good country. It is a good country. America is a good country. There's a lot of good people in this country. This country gave us the right to stand up. And that's why I love this country. Because this country gave us the right to stand up. And we have to. We have to. Every day, folks are in DC. Imagine if Malcolm X and Martin Luther King they're set aside. You and me will not be walking the streets of DC around. Imagine. But they fought.
But they fought. They fought.
They fought. But listen, Robert, listen. When they saw the system went in another direction, they decide to use the people power. They decide to use the people power. And the people power is to come out peacefully and demand justice. Peacefully and ask the question. Peacefully, I will use the word peacefully, because the system of America listens to the people. You cannot tell me that somebody, a president, go on Al Jazeera and listen to it, say to us I take the responsibility for Knockout. The Al Jazeera went and talk about Knockout. They saw nepotism in high places. We have seen nepotism again coming from JMB. We have seen it. Then you tell me, only CDC, let's say we agree. Let's say we agree. For the argument's sake, they are corrupt. So they are the only people. But the only way that they think that some of us asking, do more, do your investigation and call out and some of the other side, because we all know what happened on the other side. Liberians understand that. That's what we asking. That's what we're asking. And I'm telling all Liberians, lastly, guys, all Liberians, when you ask the question to America, they will act, because there's a lot of good people in America than bad people. They will act because the Americans, this country is a good country. It is a good country. They will act. And I rest for now.
Thank you, Kev.
Okay, thank you, Greg. I think it was a wonderful show. Dr. Peabody, did you go?
No, yes, I did already.
I'm not gonna waste our time.
Happy anniversary to my nephew, man. Hector and Antoinette. Happy wedding anniversary. Today the wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Hector and Antoinette. We are in Trenton. Happy anniversary, okay?
All right. Thank you, guys. It was a great show today. Hopefully, by God's grace, we'll be back again. Thanks to our audience, as always, for being a part of the conversation. Thanks to Henry for staying with us as late as you have. We really do appreciate your commitment to helping in providing, the service for our Liberian people. Great show today, guys. Let us hopefully.
Somebody was playing with our number today, though. Somebody was playing with our number.
Okay, we were. Give us some. Yo, but you guys don't give the guys credence. I mean, it will happen here and there, but I'm glad that you actually brought it to my attention, though, Kev. But
Somebody, why you are highlighting that? You are literally alone.
Antiola say nothing, not me.
All right, Henry. Good job, Henry. Thank you,
man. We appreciate it, guys. Please come next week with your little sketch app.
I'll tell you this, I would like to call your day. What a pleasant, splendid show tonight. Here in the closing argument of our panelists. Let me say many thanks to Holofen 107.9 there. The guys there, let me say many thanks to you guys. Many thanks to the folks there at Tuvafen in Nimba 96.9 and all affiliate community radio stations for relaying the program. My name is Heron Jada alongside Arthur Butler. We say bye-bye for now. End.